but his should be back up momentarily. He's going to share around the link, of course. Turn that off. Judy, hey Judy. Candace, Divine Diamond, Joey Litness Vlogs, Dory W. What's good, y'all? Do I have my other phone? No, I don't. Nice. Oh yeah, I have to grab my other phone because of the questions. All right, I'll bet.
That just set me back worlds. Oof. I'm confused right now. I don't even know what I'm doing.
All right, guys. Shout out to the people who asked some questions on our posts. We posted on Instagram, Epic Paranormal TV on Instagram, and then Sean D. Austin on Instagram.
Yeah.
And so, guys, we have posts there. We're going to be reading some questions from, and then any questions y'all have, you can ask live in the chat, of course, as well. Also, Kristen Lee is with us.
Hi, everybody.
What's up? Yeah, we're going to have to all scoot in very close if we're going to all be in the shot.
Just like me, they long to be close to you.
Perfect.
You sang that?
No.
Carpenters.
The Carpenters. Oh, it sounds like the Carpenters. It sounds like a Carpenter song.
Or don't stand so close.
No, that's not the Carpenters.
No. Who is that?
It's an
Police.
80s band, yeah. Is it the Police?
Oh, or Staying, either one. I can't remember.
Let's find out. The Police, you're right. You're right. Is the Police?
You know what I was thinking we could do when we all gather again here? Jam session.
Ooh.
All weekend
Yeah, we're
long.
all musicians.
Yeah.
That's right. Daniela. Danny, thank you for throwing down on the super chat. And I love that little fox sticker. Very
That
nice.
was cute.
Very, very nice. Walter, he's going live on his channel right now. His stream closed out. He was trying to get it not choppy because the video was choppy. And for whatever reason, the stream was unable to be accessed from his phone once he closed it out. And so he's making a new one right now. He's sharing it out on the socials. So it's taking him a second, but he's getting it going. He's making it happen. Do y'all want to see what he's doing? You want to see a little behind the scenes? This is what he has to do before the streams where he's sharing it all out. Just a lot of thumb. A whole lot of thumb.
I was so prepared, and I'm just lost now.
You're finding your way back. And then look, over there, he's editing a video. He's putting in a little work. He's putting in a little work, making it happen.
Yeah, I have to do the thing on that. I have to delete.
So, Sean, whenever the stream goes down, he deletes the old tweets and puts up new ones. I just comment the link on the old posts.
Jesus.
But I guess a new post would get more attention. All right, I'm going to go ahead and pull up the post, get the questions ready. How's everyone doing today? Joey Litness Vlogs, I got you on the Facebook question. Oh yeah, so Facebook was definitely where the majority of the questions were asked on my post.
I'm posting us on Facebook too.
Nice.
change everything because even in my Instagram, I edit my profile. I have to go back there too. Shit.
It's all good.
It's all right. We're the Goonies.
This is what we get for trying to start on time. All right. All right, ready with these questions? So I've got like 7 or 8 here, and we'll sprinkle these in with any questions y'all have live as well. Dory, I see you, Dory. Nikki Ray, hey Nikki. Nancy Lee, what's up, Nancy? RJ, what's good? Yeah, guys, so I slept in the altar room last night and live streamed it, and I haven't reviewed the footage yet, so I don't know if anything happened while I was sleeping. But right before, like when I first got up there, it was crazy active. And the REM pod went ballistic, and we had like some back and forth with the REM pod. Weird energy. Oh yeah, I asked like the spirits to give me a sign that they're still in here, and then the house started shaking, and I guess it was the wind. It had to have been the wind. And then I asked, how do you want to communicate with us? Or how do you want to communicate with me? And then my phone that I was streaming on disconnected and reconnected. You're back?
Yep, technically. Sorry about that, guys. I had to make an entire new link. All this new YouTube land playing with it constantly, so.
Here, let's
Yeah.
wipe your lens down.
How about this?
Yeah. Not with your thumb. That's the problem. Yeah, let me see it.
Where'd you post the link, Sean?
I changed the link in the post and then I retweeted it
Much better.
and I put it in.
Also,
Okay, so I'll find you on YouTube and share it.
see, we're not gonna try anything crazy this time. Do you have 2 selfie cameras? Like hit the camera flip button. Yeah, that right there. Hit it 1 time, and then 1 more time. I just want to see. Don't hit it twice. Did you hit it twice?
No.
Just once? Okay. It looks very tight for a selfie cam. My Note 9 has like a zoom cam and a regular cam.
I don't know.
It's good. What's up, Sean Squad? Epic fam.
Where's the unicorn? I don't know. Ask him. It's probably chilling in his bed right now. Sparkling rainbows all over his bed.
It's in the car. I felt like this environment was a little too dangerous for it.
Yeah.
But Sean was wanting to burn it as an offering. Sacrifice it to the Dark Lord. I was like, Sean, we don't want to do that.
No.
The Dark Lord?
Yeah. He was saying some weird stuff.
You know,
the other
I was
day.
actually telling Kristen, I was telling Eric if he'd ever seen the movie. I'm sure you have. It's classic. The Last Unicorn.
No.
You've never seen that cartoon?
I'll watch it.
Oh my
no.
God, watch it immediately. It's great.
Have y'all seen it in the chat? The Last Unicorn. Y'all hear about this?
It's like a dark but like eerie but good cartoon. Hello, Joanna. Hello, Vicky, Walter. Molly's seen it.
Nice.
So we just decided to do this a little bit. Whoever's around during this time, to anyone who wants to ask us questions about what you've been witnessing, what we've been experiencing while Eric and I have been living here for the last week. Tonight's kind of like the main last night for me. I'm burnt out. I have to prepare myself for the next location, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Paranormal hangover to the fullest. But anything that you guys wanted to ask us as questions, something that you've seen us experience individually, or something about the Bellaire House as a whole, we have the plethora of Bellaire House knowledge to the right of us, Kristen Lee. So we've had a lot of experiences here every single day since we've been here. And if anyone has any questions as a whole, in the broad spectrum about the paranormal as well, be more than glad to, answer your questions regarding that as well. Why do spirits remain at locations that have been investigated so much, and they have been sent to the light? Have they been sent to the light? Is probably what you're trying to say. I think there's different reasons for many different individual spirits. They all have their own story that associates with their consciousness of energy. So we can only speculate or theorize what spirits originate here and what are coming through from the portals. Which we've been encountering a diversified amount of spirits in this place because of that. So it's can be a little tricky to kind of disseminate who we're dealing with, what we're communicating with, and where it really comes from. And I'm sure Kristen, you've had a lot of people experience that sort of thing too, coming here and having spirits that they've been with at other locations, and they kind of like, hey, I'm here now.
They tag along. Some of the spirits from other locations tag along, but then some people that have stayed here have reported that some of the Bellaire House residential spirits go with them sometimes too.
Mm-hmm.
There was a man that actually Edwin Hetherington stayed with him for quite some time. Funny story. I'll tell you a great funny story. There was a team that had been so drawn to Emily Davis that they did an investigation a few times at the Lookout House in Gettysburg, and they were communicating with Emily Davis in Gettysburg.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
And a lot of our supporters didn't really like that. There was a little bit of stuff that was going on, but one girl went to Gettysburg to get Emily Davis to bring her back here.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
So I mean, yeah, that kind of stuff happens, but I think that when you leave locations, you just say, "Hey guys, stay here. I'll see you again. We'll talk again when I come back." It's no different than
right.
going home to visit our folks and saying, "Hey guys, we love you. We'll see you later." But there are other spirits that are lower energy that can really drain our physiological and our psychological, which would damper our spirit and our soul to make us more lethargic and things like that. And there's things that we can do in order to kind of make that go away as well. A big thing that I use and tell everybody, when you leave a location, like Eric's water bottle, use a water bottle like this and put some kosher salt in it, like the salt that we cook with, because it's blessed by, a rabbi, but any kind of clergy can bless it, or you could do your own blessing over the salt and shake it up and put it on your shoes before you leave. Make the cross on your head and your wrists. And then when you get home, bathe in the kosher salt, because kosher salt is like from the core of the earth, so it's the strongest, and plus it's blessed. And if you're putting a blessing on top of a blessing, that's a double blessing. And then put like a half a cup in your bathtub and soak in it. If you don't have a bathtub, sprinkle it on the base of your shower and swish your feet back and forth in it. What it does, it's going to remove any kind of residual negative energy from your magnetic field, and then you're going to feel squeaky clean. But let's say, for instance, that somebody's like really low, like they've investigated, and they're not using protective practices, they're not taking care of themselves. They need to do that for like a week. But if you're doing it a long time, make sure you use lotion, because that salt's going to dry out your skin.
Right.
You're going to be very well preserved, but but I mean, it's like you don't want to stand in the supermarket line and start scratching your leg or your butt because you're using all that salt. So make sure you use some moisturizer with that too. But also too, our pendants and our amulets and our protective bags and prayer. Prayer, absolutely pray.
Yeah, I always tell people prayer. It's like easy to do.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody just asked, they wanted to know about the skull.
Funny story
Kristen.
again. I have lots of horror stories and funny stories, and thank you for asking
skull.
about the funny stories.
That's a real human skull, yo.
So
No joke.
yeah, with the skull, there's one of my son's friends. His name's Holden Bell, and he's a deer hunter. And I always, get deer heads, like the skulls of deer heads. And during Mercury retrograde, which we just started Mercury retrograde, I always put crystals on glue crystals on the skulls. And, a friend of mine named Johnny saw it, and he liked the deer skull, and I gave it to him, and it was my last one. So I told Holden, can you can you get me another deer skull? And it was hunting season, so I really felt confident he was going to, but he didn't. He brought me an actual human skull. And it was so strange because when he brought it, we kept it in our Jeep, and he actually got it from a dentist. The dentist said, hey, take this to the lady at the Bellaire House. She'll preserve it. She'll take care of it, you know. So that's good that word was out, that I take care of things like that. But
Right.
we had left it in the Jeep, and we went to a picnic, and then all of a sudden, the Jeep started on its own. And my cousin had to go, and like I gave him the keys because I had the keys, and I was like, James, go turn the Jeep off. He couldn't get it unlocked. He couldn't get it to shut down.
Oh my God.
So then after about 15 minutes, it finally just stopped. So then we came here, because we had to check in a team, and the skull's still in the Jeep, and we're talking to the team, we're showing them around. And all of a sudden, my Jeep just turns on by itself.
Again?
And the
Oh my
lights are
God.
coming through the window, and we can see it. And they're like flashing at us. And I'm like, fuck.
What have you gotten into?
Right. So then we went outside, and we brought the skull in here. And then we placed it in the cabinet. And I had learned that we're supposed to give it like offerings. So it can be happy. The spirit of it is still attached to it, that it can be happy. So we gave it chocolates, we gave it candy, we gave it coins, and all that cool stuff. But so far, nothing has happened since then. But, I'm not going to test it and see if I should put it back in my Jeep. What's it going to do?
Yeah, especially in the winter.
Right, yeah. No,
That's
thank
wild.
you.
Yeah, car trouble is not uncommon at locations like these. And then you add a real human skull into the mix.
Well, yeah, Dave Spinks, his car.
Yeah.
Sean,
tell
do you
that
want to
story.
talk
Yeah.
about that story?
Well, I mean, we investigate here. I was here with Dave
It was like
Spanks,
5
Dave
days,
Weatherly,
right?
and Ross and Allison, and I think I was upstairs in what's that room called? The one that
Edwin
you use the legend-
Hetherington room.
Okay, Edwin's room, and I just saw like Dave's car rolling down the hill, and I'm just like, excuse me, there's something really bad happening right now.
Is that how you
And then
said?
Dave ran outside, and like luckily the tree outside blocked his car from going further and ramming into the apartment buildings across from the Bellaire House.
Yeah, it got caught on the tree, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the door.
He got lucky.
The door.
The
was-
door caught it.
Yeah,
The whole door was
And,
demolished.
Oh my God.
yeah. I mean, he had his emergency brake on. The cops came here. They even looked at it, and they're like, "That's kind of strange if the emergency brake was on." It was just one of those weird things. I mean, is it paranormal? I don't know. It's just strange, but it actually was referencing like some car stuff this past week too.
Yeah,
It's talked about Dave a lot.
yeah.
Last night it said Kiss Spinks. Clear as day.
I did in the altar
Yeah,
room.
yeah.
Yeah.
Crystal clear. It said Kiss Spinks.
Or we're like, do you like Dave Spinks?
yeah, that was another one.
Yep.
We were asking about it because like something here likes to mess with them like that. So we have another question here from my man Joey Litness Vlogs. What's up, Joey? He wants to know, for you and me, and I guess we could talk about, and you too, and anyone who's been here, what's the most scariest thing that's happened so far? So I think the obvious answer is going to be, I guess, the last night that Dave was here. Dave, Sean, and me. We were up in the attic, and we chained 3 gateway devices together, and we were using all kinds of different equipment. And it literally felt like we opened a gateway, and it was like a gateway not to anywhere nice. It seemed like it. When we asked what was coming through, they said hell over and over again, and we'd get these screams over and over again, these like terrible blood-curdling screams. And I'd say that's the scariest thing so far, like by far, because it was so freaky. Sean actually got up to leave the room. He was like, I don't know what's happening here. I don't know what's going on, but I've got to leave. And he got up and he went over to the steps to like leave the attic, and he stayed by the steps for a minute, and he started calming down a bit. But yeah, that was definitely the freakiest thing. And you could feel it. Dave could feel it. All 3 of us could feel it in there. There was something happening that was not normal. And the attic hasn't felt the same since. And maybe that's just like a little bit of PTSD going back up there.
Yeah.
But it has not felt the same since.
It's definitely heavier in here.
Yeah.
It really is, yeah. When we were here last night, I had a major headache. I couldn't.
Well, I do want to just kind of retreat back for a moment there. with the you know, when we've actually put those devices together with his gateway and a bunch of the spirit boxes, and we never had anything like that happen before.
Right.
But I don't think we've ever done it right in the same proximity to like what we believe to be a portal. And the combination of that seems to be the perfect storm of whatever took place that first night. I mean, it had so much energy that, yeah, I had to get up because I felt just so much panic. I didn't know if the devices were emitting some sort of such strong energy that I was like, do I need to step out from the energy, or is it legit like coming from evil spirits? But then like I stepped away from the couch and I felt better, and I was able to yell out a prayer and just, you know, but I started to feel like the evil presence like all around me. I literally felt like all of the evil spirits that I've encountered started to come into the room with us. Like we were just standing in a vortex, and just everything was reaching out from this doorway in the room. And straight up, it felt like we were in the midst of a science fiction horror movie where just everything was coming through. I've never felt anything like that before. It was really intense.
It was like it was opening up.
Yeah, and I mean, I saw that creature hand reaching out like towards me with the 3 fingers, which I've encountered before. You know, I started seeing the Amityville house. I saw all these flies. I started to just pick up on like everything, and it just became like so intense. I'm like, what's going on? Like I didn't know, you know. And when you have so much EMF going on, it can also just, you know, make our bodies react to it just on its own. You know,
Yeah.
let alone the entities that could be around us and manifesting, projecting, and trying to influence us or attack us, whatever it may be. So
And
it
all
was
the
just,
gateways and everything.
it was a swirl of
Open too.
confusion, a swirl of spiritual energy, and it was just like, I don't think we were prepared for any of that. Thank you so much, Walter, for the super chat.
And every location that I've been to with Sean, whenever he's prayed, it's calmed down afterwards. This was the first time I've been with Sean that it actually heightened after he prayed.
They got pissed off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they didn't leave. They didn't back down or anything. Usually it just calms down and like everything baselines after that. But not this time. It ramped it way up. It was very, very scary.
I also was thinking, just theoretically in my mind, we know that we use things like spirit boxes and things of that nature. I mean, obviously, what we're doing in real time is all these frequencies are hitting in real time to have the spirit to allow to project a disembodied voice that we can have a real-time conversation with. So what we were doing with the gateways on top with the portal, I mean, like,
We had a
I don't
bunch
think
of
we ever had
frequencies.
3 gateways because we didn't have Dave's gateway last time when we were in Kansas.
We had 2 of mine.
So you had 2 yours.
But we used we used a different setup though. We used different tuners. And
Okay.
we had a much broader range of frequencies this time.
Okay, so that leads to kind of my theory is that if we had such a broadened, you know, line of frequencies for these spirits to allow to be able to speak on, it's just like because we know the spirits get energy from acknowledgement. So if we broaden this frequency range of just loads and loads of frequencies that spirits can speak on, that may have been the combination of the energy that we were feeling on top of the portal, because you have all these spirits desperate to come through and say something, and then you have a portal right next to what we're doing there, and then all these things are just desperately trying to come in and have their competition of what they want to say and what they want to, and then reaching out and just wanted to come into the room with us for whatever the reason, good, bad, anything that was just wanting to get its, you know, word across or communicate. I mean, it was seriously intense.
Oh, another scary thing is when we did the seance and I was seeing that pentagram, just like that upside down pentagram, I just couldn't shake it. And my heart started beating all fast. And then shortly after that, Sean captured a picture of yellow eyes behind Maria.
Yep.
That whole, like, the beginning of that seance, I was freaking out. And I had to envision Jesus on the cross, like, over and over again in order to get that pentagram out of my head. And eventually it went away, my heart went back down. And I didn't say anything because I didn't want to freak everyone out. I knew as soon as I said something, everything would stop. You know, everyone would stop. And maybe that's what should have
It
happened.
should have happened.
But-
yeah, next time, if there isn't, and I don't promote it next time, but if there's a next time, just we'll shut it down, or make that person shut it down, or
Right.
just don't participate. We should have done that.
Well, I mean, you know, from that second night that we were investigating, because it seemed like it was building. Like, I mean, obviously the first night when I got here, I wasn't even live
Good
streaming on YouTube, guys.
Lord,
We just
yes.
turned on the device. I immediately started getting like references to Amityville and George Lutz, and then Ed, and then it was like, it seems like the stuff that with me started to come through immediately when we got here, and then by the second night, the whole thing. With the boom noise up in the altar room, and we just didn't even know what happened. I mean, Dave's running around the house with a gun.
That was. I've never experienced anything like that in my life.
Yeah, talk more about that. Like, what was this boom and what did it make you all feel? And why was Dave running around with a gun?
So, the first thing, I felt like I was swaying back and forth, And from my perspective, I'm like, Dave, there is something circling. Like, you could just feel the energy just circling. And I'm like, so I looked at Mike and I was like, this isn't good. Something's going to happen.
Right.
And I didn't know what was going to happen. Then all of a sudden, this big combustion came up from the altar room floor. Boom! Like an atom bomb, but of all energy. And I thought somebody broke in. I thought it was like somebody took
Kicked the
that
door
door
down.
and just kicked it down.
Now that's why
God.
Dave ran around the house to see, and I ran downstairs too. Like he had a
Yes.
gun. Like we, you know, I mean, you don't
Yes.
know. I
So
mean,
Dave thought someone might have
Oh.
broken
Oh, we
into.
all
straight
did.
up.
And there was no one here.
Yeah.
No one.
And looking back at it, I mean, from experience and just knowing about the paranormal in general, like the experiences of something, it's known. Like you could hear a loud pop noise or a loud boom
Yeah.
if something's coming in and out of
Yep.
our dimension.
Yes.
So that frequency, that noise, could be something that we were experiencing throughout the week that was coming through the portal.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like I'm here, and and then all of a sudden, like after that. That's when we saw the red eyes. I saw the red eyes over his shoulder. It was literally like the red eyes were like right here over his shoulder. I saw 2 perfect red circles, and then that we all screamed, and I'm just like, what color was the eyes that I just saw over Dave? And it goes red.
Yes.
I mean, it was just like such validation and creepiness. Like, I mean, you knew something dark was with us, and it was watching us.
It was validation every day.
Yeah, it just started to build and
Yeah.
build.
And
I
now
mean-
it's just, and then the bat,
Yeah. Was the bat an
Yeah.
omen? Because that was before the crazy session in the attic. The bat came in.
Yeah.
I have 2 theories on the bat.
Well, I at least had, I enjoyed the bat thing because like we were in the altar room on that night, and then that's when we had the crazy ass scream from the Mason.
Yep.
And
yep.
like, he's, built these gateways, and he's never heard something like that before. When you heard that scream,
It was
just like,
distant.
it was like, again, because his device, when you hear like the one word, it comes through and it goes, and it gets lower each time in volume.
Yeah.
And this time you just heard, and it was just like, we all had chills to the bone. Like, I was just like, oh my God. And his
was
specific
nuts.
question was so telling because he's like, what did Sean do to you? And it was like, that scream was a representation of what he felt I have done to this man. He's like taking these women away from him.
Ooh.
And it's just like, it was really, really intense. And then it happened again when him and I were alone up there in the attic, and the
yeah.
scream. And I said, who was that? It goes, Mason, it's him. Same scream, but this time it was just sustained and long.
It was a long scream.
I just, and that's where we're going next. And I haven't been there in 5 years, and it seems like we're only 2 hours from this place, so it's just, it's creepy.
We're getting so much closer.
Yeah.
Time, proximity, everything.
But it
And
just.
it's almost like it knows you're coming.
Oh,
it
no
already
question.
knows
Oh, yeah.
every
No
step
question.
of the way.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, the nightmare that I had the first night I was here was definitely from the demonic thing associated with that property and this man. And I don't know if you guys know, the story. I'll tell you, just quickly. I had this vivid dream that I was being brought upstairs with the mother. She's telling me like her 8-year-old daughter was being clawed and scratched and acting strange. So I walked into the bedroom and she was sleeping, and she lifted up the daughter's like arm while she's sleeping, and there's just claw marks all over her arm. And all of a sudden, like the girl just gets up and just like turns her head really violently to me, like, "Bleh," and goes, "Stop!" Because I literally started praying. And I literally started praying before this happened, like in the vision. As soon as I saw this, I started praying, and then it got angry, and then the mother's like, oh, there's another picture of her claw marks. And literally there was a picture on the bed table, and I could just see her, like her throat slit from ear to ear, and it was like the heart was pulsating the blood out over and over again. And I looked back at the little girl, and she's like, and then my father, in the form of my father, walked right up and said, your father died 2 minutes ago. And then I jumped up, saw the flash of this red face with black horns and yellow eyes that I've not seen in 5 years since I've been to that Mason house, and I had to call my dad to make sure he was okay. So that's why I also blessed the room ever since I've been sleeping there. And
He's literally been blessing it every night.
yeah,
Like, literal
and I
blessing.
haven't
You
had
gotta bless the whole house before you go, like 3 times,
yeah,
right?
and I haven't had an issue since. So
I had a really weird dream, and I'll tell you half of it, because one half of it's very personal. You were in it. It was focused on you.
Really?
Yeah. After, we were at this beach, and all of these other people were there, but you dove into the water, and we all watched you, and it was like aquarium clear, and you were in the sand, like 18 feet underwater, making symbols. Mm-hmm.
What
Yep.
kind of symbols?
I don't know.
What, what do you think that means, like dream-wise?
Well, first of all, the positive parts. Let's start there.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's get the good before the bad.
Yeah, I always try to balance out the positive from the negative. The positive part is water's representation of life, good life, healing. It's also a representation of Archangel Raphael, our healing angel.
Mm.
But I think that and I kept that to myself for, a day or so, and this is the first time you're hearing of it.
Yeah.
But when we started to hear symbols come through the equipment, remember?
Yeah.
Symbols, sigils, then I started to be a little bit concerned. Why are they focusing on him? And that's the negative part. But then it went away, like they didn't talk about the symbols anymore.
Right.
But there was something profound that I heard, both of, maybe Dave too, somebody was drawing symbols or somebody was making symbols. I can't remember what it was. I don't remember exactly how that went, but then I kind of leaned in and tried to really take in what information they were giving. But I think that it was more pertaining to the messages that were coming through from spirit about symbols. But I mean, you were just having a blast. I mean, we all were. We were at the beach. We were just like, woo.
Well, if I'm at the beach, I feel like I'm at home. I don't care if I'm living in a sandcastle. So that
Yeah.
sounds fitting for me.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. That
Yeah,
sounds
but
like
I
a good
mean,
dream.
you were just having a good old time, and we were just looking down at you. I was like, hey, Eric, what's going on? You're like, yeah, man.
I'm like 18 feet deep.
Yeah, and then with your feet, you were just like making, I don't know, it was kind of like that drummer symbol, the drummer clef note or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
I think that was there, but you were just like doing a circle too, and then putting stuff inside the circle.
Huh.
I don't know what you were doing, but it could be psychological too.
Hopefully.
I mean, we can't rule
Well, I
that
also
out.
think about his really unsettling dream that he had before we took our trip to the whole Sally House trip. When you said you had this demonic female spirit come to you and literally offer you a deal.
That wasn't a dream. That was real life.
Yeah.
Wow.
That
Yeah.
was when I realized that I thought like a lot of the demon deals were made by musicians like as a way to gain notoriety. Like I didn't think they were real.
Johnny Lee Hooker, yeah.
Yeah, and then that demon came to me and offered me a deal. And it was so weird because when the demon entered the room, it was like I was somewhere else. But I was in the room, but it was like everything was vibrating. I could feel every vibration of everything. Everything was just like vibrating so intensely. And it was talking to me and I was understanding it clearly, but it wasn't like words, even though I understood I don't know. It was
Like telepathy?
like telepathy, but it was like communication.
That's what it is. I mean, when you're not awake in your physical body, you're just energies. That's how they communicate. It is all telepathy.
Yeah,
it's an exchange of energy.
And she said she offered me, or it came in the form of a female. It was clearly a demon, but like talking to me with a female voice, like a demented female voice. And it said it would stop something from happening in exchange for something. And I was about to start speaking. I literally was going to speak against my will, just like it was almost like she was using magic to make me talk. And as soon as I was about to start talking, I caught myself. And I was like, no. And when I came to, and I was like, oh my God, I was about to start dealing with a demon. And it stayed there after I came out of it. It stayed at the head of my bed. It was literally standing by the head of my bed. And I was like, I didn't think that kind of thing would happen. And we were about to go to the Sally House of all places.
No, I had a vision associated with the Sally House months before we went too. I knew I wanted to go there. I had a dream of a very pale brunette girl, and she came up to me and she whispered in my ear like, "Did you play with the Ouija board?" And I'm just like, "No." And she's just like, all of a sudden her arm started like waving, and like a snake came out of her sleeve. And then all of a sudden she like whispered in my ear, she's like, "Here's my phone number." And like,
wow.
I remembered like the first 3 digits, the area code, and I looked up the area code, and it was like, Wichita or whatever the hometown of Sally's house is. I think it's in Atchison.
Yep.
Atchison, Kansas. It was the area code to Atchison, Kansas, and I knew it was from the Sally House. But I mean, after we at the Sally House, me being up in the hotel room, and like I got up and like you were just like sitting up like this with your eyes closed. I'm like, "Dude, are you okay?" I thought you were just half asleep, gonna go to the bathroom, but I went to the bathroom and came back, dozed off 3 hours later. You were in the same exact position.
I kept laying back down and sitting back up. So it was like 2 nights after Sally House. We were in the hotel and we thought we got by with nothing crazy happening. We thought we were like out of there with nothing crazy. But all of a sudden, I started sitting up, and I couldn't control it. I was involuntary. I kept sitting up, and I couldn't get out of the like sleep state I was in, even though I was fully aware of what was happening, and I couldn't lay myself back down. And then Sean leaned over, and he was like, Sean said, "It's not gonna possess you like that." And I just assumed Sean was messing with me because it was like it sounded kind of like Sean's demon voice whenever he's like, getting slap happy and starts talking all silly. It sounded like that, but apparently he leaned over and said, "Hey, are you okay?" But that's not what I heard. I didn't hear that at all. And I kept every time I'd break out of it and lay back down, I'd wake up sitting back up, and I couldn't stop. And I did it all night. I woke up sitting up, but it was disturbing because I couldn't control it at all. It was completely involuntary. And I don't know how to explain an involuntary movement to somebody.
Yeah.
But it's literally like you're out of control of your body. It's super scary.
Yeah. Well, that's definitely a concern that you got to, keep on, checking yourself with that too. I mean, because there was definitely dark things watching us here. Mm-hmm. And, considering what you were seeing during that, the seance you were doing, like, I'd be very weary of that, man. 'Cause
yeah, for real.
those are like little signs there. I mean, and think about what the demonic thing said to you, like, oh, I'll prevent this from happening if you give us something else. I mean, they know the future, besides our free will that can lead in different directions, they have a good idea what's going to happen in the future. So I definitely take heed to that and be a little bit more careful.
That demon seemed like almost like happy that it broke out, that I broke out of it before I could talk. It seemed like it was almost like pleased that I was able to get out of whatever lock she had me in. It was, I don't know, it was messed up, man. And I feel like if I hadn't broken out of it, I would have said the words that she wanted to hear.
And then it would have sealed the deal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's some kind of trickery they do.
Oh, well, it's like the demonic version of good cop, bad cop. They're going to try to change the words around and make you actually agree with them. Where you actually say, yes.
My friend Lindsay Miller is watching, and she said, I did some automatic writing for the first time this morning and drew symbols. And then we were talking about symbols.
Oh, wow.
And look at this. It looks like a whole bunch of waves.
Yeah.
And that doesn't look like value. That actually, if you look at it, looks like wave.
Oh,
you know
yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah. I can see that.
And then the arrow pointing down. Wow, look at that. It's crazy. Yeah.
I saw a question mark in there.
Now,
too.
Kristen,
Like
you want to talk about your crazy experience up in the attic too? Like when you had to leave, that was a
Oh, yeah.
Good Lord. Okay, well, first of all, I'm going to go into the skeptical. I think I have an ear infection. That's first and foremost. But my ears don't hurt today, and I've not taken any medicine. So for a couple of days, I'm thinking it's just an ear infection. I was standing by Sean, and we were speaking to a spirit of a female servant that was sexually assaulted and that was beaten with like a belt or something, or a whip. I can't remember.
Whip. It was a whip.
And there was something
There was
about
a belt
child.
too, yeah, and a whip.
She was looking for her baby, or there was something to do with the baby.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And if you're a musician, you know that sound when you're driving home after playing, that ringing in your ear.
Yep.
It's you just cannot get rid of it. It started like that in this ear, but then it felt like somebody put a cow prod through my ear into my head. I mean, that kind of a high frequency vibration, but I physically felt a force going in my ear, and I lost all hearing. Like I could not hear anything out of this ear. And then I became dizzy, and I almost passed out. That's why I held myself up with the wall.
Right, that's when I saw you holding up against the wall.
And I gravitated toward Goat because Goat's my guy. You know what I mean? And I know if
Right.
I'm going to fall, he's going to catch me. And then all of a sudden, I knew you were there because it was I lost hearing. I couldn't hear, and I just felt you coming over. And then you motioned to come on, and I followed you, and I came down here, and I was good for a little bit, but then it felt like somebody shot me up with Novocaine. Like I couldn't feel, when you go to the dentist, you can't feel anything.
When you're sensitive and stuff, I mean, like you may have been connecting. There may be some sort of the clairsentience where you actually were feeling something that she felt. I mean, she may have been hit in the face so many times that it just became numb, that she just couldn't even feel it anymore.
That's a good point.
Yeah, and that's something that I was hearing at one time. Remember, we were in the altar room. I was like, she was my punching bag.
Yeah.
That guy, and it was
Yeah.
just like I could see, like he just. he had like scars on his hand, I think, from like hitting her so many times. Like it was just
Jesus.
bad.
Well, she probably, if he hit her so much, she probably lost hearing.
Yeah.
If that's
Yeah.
the
Oh my
case.
God. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but then I came back down here, and after the Novocaine feeling, and I got hearing back, and I felt the numbness go away. Then a couple hours later, it came back.
Damn.
It totally came back, and I was like, who took my hearing? What, you know? And I didn't get any resolution. I didn't get confirmation who it would have been or anything. So I don't know. I just don't. I've never. Two big things here: the big boom, the loss of hearing. I've never ever had anything like that. No, when I was doing psychic readings in Salem for the Festival of the Dead, there was a guy that came in, and I kept feeling like somebody was poking me, like, you know, with the funeral, how they like poke you to drain your blood and
Oh
all
my
of that
God.
stuff. And I looked at him and I was like, listen, I was like, are you a funeral director? What's going on with you? It's like, I feel like I'm being like, somebody's getting ready to drain me, or like I'm getting liposuction or something.
Yeah.
And he said, well, I just bought this funeral tool kit, and it was under my reading table. And I said, man, get out of here. Get the fuck out of here. You know? And he was like, well, what's this mean? I was like, I'm picking up on that energy, and I physically feel that energy. I can't, you've got me tapped out. I couldn't even read for the rest of the day. It was,
Damn.
or the rest of the night. Thank goodness it was almost close to, 8 o'clock, to where my shift was almost over. But
Right.
that's like the closest to feeling that physiological sensation of pain.
Right.
And it was really painful.
I got a couple
Very
of
painful.
questions in here. I know
That's wild.
I remember Dawn's from before. I think so. You were saying like if the medium walks in and you put salt around the property, you're going to trap the thing in there. Do you need to do like an exorcism? An exorcism is only done if it's definitively, genuinely a demonic spirit. That is to force out the diabolical. If we're dealing with human spirits, I would bless the home. It would just be a normal blessing. There's characteristics to the blessing that are in the exorcism ritual, but it's not the full exorcism ritual with the specific prayers and the methods that come into that. Now, I know someone else just asked if the house was actually knocked down, would there still be activity? Yes, that can definitely happen.
Yeah, it definitely
for
would.
sure. Actually, if you think about the story is that the original house that actually stood on the Amityville house, they actually had activity going on, and they moved that house somewhere else. And then the house that still stands there to this day with all the stuff that's happened there, look at all the stuff that's happened there paranormal wise and activity wise. So yeah, absolutely. When emotional events take place on the planet, it's a stain that'll stick there for an eternity. And considering how many layers they could be to the events that took place from the physical plane, and spiritually could be how complex and difficult it could be to rid all of the energy, where there always will be some sort of residual energy going on there at the property. But it's always characterized from the individual history that went on to the location and the spirits and the humans that were involved when they were alive. So there's a lot of factors that come in play, and I know that a lot of people have like these questions, but I always tell them it's never just this one answer. It's many answers. It's just characterized from depending on so many different things before you can nail it down to that one thing.
I mean, even if you did a minor rite, it'll be dormant for a while, but if it's that stained, something else will seep through. So it's almost like daily housekeeping or annual spring cleaning.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You have to
Yeah.
continuously do those minor rites. And I think that's where people get confused. Exorcism, it's a solemn rite when you're exorcising entity, demon out of a human body, but a minor rite is actually exorcising your home.
Mm-hmm.
And people, I hear it all the time, even seasoned investigators are like, has there already been any exorcisms in here? And I'm like, no, we've done minor rites.
People like the taboo corner of the paranormal. Even when I would watch this stuff, when you think about the demonic, you think about exorcism. It is the most extreme potential of activity that can happen in the paranormal. But you're also talking about most dangerous. So, but people do that associate because of the movies, and if they want to come out and they're thrill seekers, they're thinking, okay.
Yes.
Am I in a place where I'm going to have an insane experience? That's what people are doing that for,
Yeah.
I
I
think.
mean, I caught a guy
Yeah.
in the basement with a Ouija board, and he was trying to do a minor rite on a live feed. I woke up to a notification on my phone, and I drove down here, and I was like, dude, what are you doing? We just talked about don't do that. We have it on film. You filmed it. And I really think that it was the house that had him confused. Like it played on him so long for those couple days that he was here that it lured him downstairs to where he actually had, I don't know where he got this exorcism guide or this book. It wasn't a Bible, but I ended up having to take his whole entire team to the reservoir and blessing them and trying to, make them more balanced. And unfortunately, a couple weeks later, one of the team members, his car was crushed like a Coca-Cola can on the interstate.
Wow.
Damn.
This guy's mom had terminal cancer, and then the team just continued. They broke up.
Jeez.
Yeah. And I've watched teams come in here best of friends, and teams return. They keep returning. They love it here. It's like they're home away from home. This one particular team, I watched them come in for 2 years. Happy, positive people, just always, woo, and one day it just snapped. They just all snapped here. They tried to stay here for 5 days. On the 4th day, I came in to check on them, and they were all circled in this living room. They didn't stay in the bedrooms. One guy charged like $5,000 on one girl's credit card.
What? And
just odd things that you would never think that they're good people. They're all good people, like happy, positive people, but they turned on each other.
Holy
They absolutely
crap.
turned on each other.
Well, if you don't know what you're doing and you come into these sorts of places, you're not prepared for the psychological influence, emotional influence that these things can do. They target individuals they know that are more susceptible to their attacks.
Yes.
They can see it around your aura, they can see the cracks in your aura, and they see a way in to do that sort of thing to you. So that's why I always tell people, if you have 10 people walk into a haunted location where there's dark things, they already know who they're going to use,
Right.
and they have the best chance to victimize those people. You're a wounded fish in a school of fish out in the sea, and who is the shark going to try to prey on? It's the one flapping in the water that's sending out those frequencies in the water that I'm injured and I'm hurt and I can prey on you. And that's how these things target these people, because they know your history, they know your demons, they know your dark history and the things that they can use against you, and if you're susceptible to their spiritual attacks.
Yeah.
So.
I've also noticed people coming in like not feeling well, just getting out of the hospital for bypass surgery, and I'm like, why are you here?
Yeah, jeez.
I mean, I get that you're a diehard paranormal investigator, but please take
That's
care of your
scary.
physical, make sure you're well. And I'm not trying to be gross or anything, but women, who are cycling or on their periods, they've got to be very careful in locations as well, because first of all, our bodies are tired, we're drained, we're bleeding, we're exhausted, and that's just an open target and easy for anything. Okay, here's the weakest link, like Sean said, let's pray. And not pray as in our Father, but let's
Right.
pray on this person, and they do become like the weakest link. They really do. And I've watched it. I mean, there's been thousands of people here. I've watched it time and time again. So I normally pull people aside and I'm like, I don't mean to pry, but are you, is Uncle Tom with you this week?
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, yeah. And I was like, well, then you really need to be careful.
Mm-hmm.
You do need to be more cautious and take precautions, because you're tired,
Yeah.
and your body's already overloading with, hormones and emotions and all that stuff. And especially here in this house, it picks up on it. Other locations, I'm sure it does, but here, it tilts the glass. And we used to have on our website, if you are on your menstrual cycle, please reschedule, and we will honor your deposit.
Wow.
We used to do that because we were.
Because it's such a phenomenon here.
Yes, it really is. Yeah, and I know it's creepy, and everybody's like, well, but we kind of lean back from it. But the regular guests that come here, they know.
They know.
They absolutely know.
See, that's good information to have. I didn't know that. And I guess I wouldn't know that. But I do have a question for you, Sean, about the wolf. So I think it was my man, Matt Godek, the Go Man, who asked this last night, and then Johanna is posting it today. The wolf Sean was picking up on last night, do you think it might have been a skinwalker? Because there is a history of Native Americans on this land. Could that have been the skinwalker? Because you said it didn't look all the way wolf. It looked like part wolf. Was it yellow eyes?
I don't know, because
Red eye? It was red eyes.
I'm leaning. One thing for sure, and I'm sure some of you guys know this, I've been watching my Periscopes before I just started to transition to use YouTube, is that the word wolf has been coming up around me for quite some time. So, one of my cases that obviously is prevalent to me is the story of the girl who's possessed and pregnant.
Right.
And I think it even said, when I saw the werewolf, I think it said 9, the number 9, right around that time.
It did say, because I was like 999.
Yeah. So, just to briefly go into that, the 3-year-old boy, at the time of this girl who's possessed and pregnant, one night he was wandering around the house, and he's making the cross sign on his chest, going, draw the cross upside down, draw the cross upside down. And this is when she called me. And then he's in the background. He's going crazy. I don't know what he's doing. And he's going, the big bad wolf, mark of the beast 666, big bad wolf. So I just read books on demonology. And from what I read is that no demonic entity is capable of saying, I love Jesus. So I asked the mother to ask the child, if the big bad wolf can say, I love Jesus. So she asks him while I'm on the phone with him. And then all of a sudden I hear the kid howling in the background like a wolf. God. And then she goes, he wants to get on the phone and talk to you. I'm like, great, lovely. Jeez. I can only imagine what's about to happen. So he gets on the phone and he goes, well, some of you guys know this story. He says, you better watch out tonight. The big bad wolf, he says he bites. He's going to come to you in your sleep, bite your penis off, and spit it on your chest.
Oh.
Yeah, a 3-year-old.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
3-year-olds can't,
Yeah, a 3-year-old can't even, imagine something like that. Now, the 9 reference, there would be there would be a little boy spirit that would come in the form of a little boy, and he would come to him, and he would tell him to go take all the pills on the counter so he can come play with him. He said there was a child that died nearby at train tracks, and he would go and make the little kid walk up to the doorknob and turn it 9 times. Now, there's 9 choirs of angels, so we know the demonic likes to do things in 3s, or any sort of connectivity to mocking the Holy Trinity. So, there definitely could be that correlation there, and considering with all the references to all the dark things that I think I've encountered was coming and hovering around us at some point while being here this week, I was leaning towards the wolf reference to be connected to that, and obviously I did see a wolf-like creature too. So that's what I was leaning towards. Obviously, I don't know, but there was definitely references to her case as well while I've been here.
So the synchronicity, though, the wolf is very big here. Bella, my dog, bred with a wolf.
Mm-hmm.
No clue how that happened. But every night at 3 o'clock in the morning, this is when I was sleeping down here because the house was just cranked. She would always go to this window over here in the foyer, and night after night. So one night I finally went over.
Growing up, and we had this dog Bandit. We loved it unconditionally, as most people do their pets and stuff like that. We always had 2 dogs growing up, and that dog passed away. And then we had this dog Murphy. And I remember when I first started, investigating and being around the paranormal, this spirit of that followed me in my story. I'll never forget. I was recording EVP. Because I didn't know what I was doing. I was recording EVPs and talking to this girl back and forth because she said I saved her from the property. I mean, from my first book, anyone who's read it. And I remember she my dog had to go out, and I hear her on recording. She goes, "Bandit needs to go out."
Aw.
So I'm just like,
damn.
Wait, hold on a second. That's not Bandit, that's Murphy. And she said that's Bandit's spirit reincarnated.
Oh,
yeah.
Like the movie.
Yeah.
I believe
so
that.
So she referenced my dog Murphy to Bandit, and then that dog passed away. So it's it seems like that dog had come back to be around us for a little bit longer, and we cherish that dog too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I've got to get going. I have
Okay.
a book club meeting, a virtual book club
Nice.
meeting.
That
Tonight
sounds
we
like
were
a blast.
talking about Alfred Hitchcock's Rebecca.
Oh, nice.
Hell yeah.
So thanks, guys. I'll see you
Thank
later
you.
on. I'll come back after
Yeah.
the book club meeting.
Sounds good.
But have fun.
Sounds
All
good.
right. Wait, dinner too. It's
Yeah.
on me tonight.
Oh, thank you, Kristen.
Nice. Thank you so much.
Thank you everyone coming in here. Appreciate liking the video and sharing this out. We're here just hanging out for a little bit, answering some more of your questions.
Yeah, we got a couple more here. So
yeah,
check it
so
out.
shoot them out.
So we got one here, another from Johanna. She says, let's see. Oh yeah, during the seance. This is about the seance.
Mm-hmm.
So in the process of the seance, she suddenly picked up on something very chilling to the bone walk in. And at that time, that's when you started saying you captured the photo of the eyes. So can you share your experience and if you pick up on anything like this too? I think she's asking me that, and then we'll both answer though. And then I'm so curious if anyone at the table was able to feel it too. And if not, why didn't they pick up on it? Thanks again. So with the seance, I picked up on something immediately just as we started. As you all know, I saw the pentagram. Be safe.
All right, see you guys.
So I picked up on the pentagram like immediately, but I didn't want to like freak everyone out, and I was able to like get rid of it thinking of Jesus and the cross and everything. But I had a feeling something bad would happen, and then Sean caught that picture. Now, my opinion on why everyone didn't pick up on the evil is because the entity probably didn't want everyone to pick up on it. The entity was probably singling just me out or singling Sean out with the photo with the eyes, and it probably wanted us to do the seance. It probably wanted the seance to continue, so it was trying not to freak everybody out initially. That way it could gather everyone's energy, gather everyone's intention.
But I think it was targeting you.
Think so?
Yeah, because you're the one who saw the pentagram. You're the one who had your heart beating. You're the one who probably thought in the back of your mind that you wanted to get up and stop immediately. You were apprehensive about being a part of it as soon as you started to experience that.
Yep.
Yeah, it was targeting you. And that's why I was a little concerned about, Kristen's dream and you drawing symbols and stuff, and then linking back to the hotel in Kansas, and then what that thing said to you in your dream. I'd be very, very careful about, some of your boundaries. Because again, guys, I don't judge anyone how they do things, but that's why I don't involve myself with seances and stuff like that, because I consider them to be dangerous. That's just me. I don't do that sort of thing. But
Sandy says, do you guys do a cleansing before leaving? Do you mean on the property or on ourselves? It depends on how intense. That was me tapping on the floor. It depends on how intense the investigation is. Sometimes we do one as soon as we step outside. Sometimes we'll pray immediately, or we'll just like I've got sage. Sometimes we'll sage off, use incense. When we were with Judy, she burned incense like right after we got out of that rancher because it was so intense. Mm-hmm. But sometimes we'll do. But since I've been with Sean, we've never cleansed a property afterwards. We leave what's there. We're not trying to mess with.
Well, these places where we're investigating, if we're renting it out, it's for the sole purpose for people to do paranormal research. It's not something where we're going to help a family. That's a different ballgame.
Right.
So, blessing ourselves and cleansing ourselves. Obviously, you guys know everything I use is religiously significant. So blessed salt to holy water to blessed oil and saying the prayers and stuff like that. That's my ballgame. And again, everyone has different methods and things like that. But,
She had another question here too. Or yourselves, because you've been there for so long, talking about this place. Well, yeah, he's been blessing his room, though.
Oh, I've been blessing my room every single night. I've been actually putting a cross on my forehead, and actually the back of my neck, I put the shape of a cross. It's one of my chakra points, and it's actually one of the main entry points that things try to possess you at. So I like to put holy water back there. Just
and that's interesting because, like, while we're investigating, occasionally I'll feel a pain in my neck, like in the back part of my neck right here. And only recently did I learn that's like an entry point.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very interesting. It probably is something trying to get in.
Yeah.
And then I've got one last question on this thing here, on the pre-questions. It was Ellis asking about, please explain in detail what you're using as the gateway and how it's hooked up to 3 spirit boxes and app in detail, please. So that might be better like for a separate video. But in short, I did bring the mini gateway down to show you. And basically what a gateway device is, it is a frequency tuner, a full reverse function that takes the audio signal and reverses it, and an instant replay, which is a long echo. And so those are the main components that make a gateway device a gateway. Everything else is extra. Like I've got reverb, I've got like delay, that stuff's extra. But what we did is we chained 3 of these together. And Sean's is a bit more intense, a bit more involved in this. It has an infinity mirror inside of it. It's got a different source of energy. And then Dave's, his weep gateway, I spent a lot of time and intention working on that, focusing on Willow's weep and the nasty energy of the weep, just focusing solely on that while making his. And basically we had all 3 of those running on a table. And the first night, we were using 2 FM tuners and an AM tuner. And so basically we had a gigantic range of frequency. We had the FM, which this goes all the way down into the 60s, which is way below broadcast. FM frequencies that are way below any FM broadcast. And then we had the normal spirit box, and then we had the AM spirit box. And we had basically imagine 3 of these with all the different tuners. And then when Sean and me did it, we didn't have Dave's gateway. So we used the Spiritus app. And the Spiritus app, while it's not a frequency device, it does have enough potential in there to be utilized by the spirits through a gateway. So we were running it through a gateway, and also the gateway eliminates the forward contamination from the Spiritus app. So Spiritus plays stuff, audio clips in forward. So it's just forward audio clips cycled over and over again. The gateway reverses that. So if you do hear anything clear and forward coming through, you know for sure that's more likely to be a spirit than anything else.
And we know that any of these audio samples or frequencies, that if they're being reversed, I mean, anything electrical in general, the spirits can manipulate it to communicate it through. I mean, there's lots of things that these things can do that we have no explanation for it. I mean, you know, they can, you know, TVs will turn on and not be plugged in. People will get text messages.
The piano turned on.
The piano turned on by itself the other night while I was
keyboard.
not streaming. I showed you guys briefly. I'd walked up the stairs, and like we've been walking up in front of that stairs constantly, and there's a red glowing light on the piano, and it was on, and I heard one piano ding.
Yeah, I'm gonna grab it.
Yeah,
it's this little keyboard.
It's just
thing.
like that was strange too, and it's just like it wanted us to know. You know, it was there. I mean, and then we heard that metal hit last night, which we don't know because I mean, it can't be the bat because they've searched for the bat the entire day today. They had somebody come over and block the.
They literally sealed up the chimneys.
They sealed up the chimneys and stuff like that. So you know, I don't know what that noise.
This is the one. So this has been off the entire time, and Sean was walking downstairs. He saw this red light, and he heard a.
Yeah, I heard
it played a key on its own.
One key. So you had to flip that switch on the side here.
It's an actual switch, yeah.
To actually turn it on. And like I said, we were walking by that chest where it was on top of, like, constantly. And that red light would have totally been noticeable in our peripheral
we would have
vision.
seen it, yeah.
No question.
And I had just walked upstairs. I was upstairs, we'd both walked up there and didn't see it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so we've had a lot of crazy stuff go down here. But as far as the gateways goes, with us having those 3 gateways, the mini gateway, this has been everywhere. This has been to the Sally House. This has been to so many of our locations. Plus your gateway has too. And then Dave's with the weird intent I put into it from the Willow's Wheat. We had a strong combination of gateways. Because when we did it last time at that hotel, we didn't have Dave's gateway. You know what I mean? We had one of my experimental ones plus this one plus yours.
Which hotel?
The Garnett Hotel. The 1898, 1858
Yeah.
Garnett.
I couldn't believe how
Garrett?
active that one in Kansas was. I'm going to be editing and posting that, what happened in that room. That hotel room was ridiculous.
What do you mean?
Our last hotel, we were together in Kentucky, where we stayed that extra
Oh,
night.
yeah, the Campbell House.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah, that was
that
nuts.
one little room, like, you had showed up, and then, like, you know, you came back, you got some equipment, and then, like, the garbage can was in the middle of the bathroom. That was, like, the beginning of the weird stuff, and it's like, what is going on? The closet door
was open.
Yeah, it was, like, really bizarre. It was another one I felt like there was a portal in the room with us. And then we heard that disembodied voice of the girl at the end.
Yes, and dude, I reviewed that. We captured that.
It's there.
We have that on, like, it's on all of ours. It's clear. It's the clearest on mine. You can hear it on yours, and you can hear it on Dave's. On mine, you can hear it just crystal clear. It's a disembodied female voice.
Yeah.
And we immediately opened the door to check, to see if there's anyone like messing with us in the hall. We didn't hear no steps or nothing. Like, I forgot all about that, dude. I had totally forgotten all about that.
I'm gonna get to that because the next video I'm gonna probably edit is gonna be the Bobby Mackey's when I was there, and then the cave in Kentucky, and then as I get to the end of that, I'll start getting into our trips in September. Edit down the review of the evidence and probably find stuff that you never find while you're doing live. I always find so much more. As per like the recent Waverly Hills investigation, it was ridiculous.
That's a good video.
Oh my God.
That's a good video.
That took me for like 16 hours to review and make. All right, let's making sure I didn't miss any other questions from you guys.
Let me,
the chat's going
Crow's
up.
got a question here. What was the place you were at? Your backpack was pushed off the table or counter. That was freaky. So Crow, so we captured 3 poltergeist activity events on that trip when we were at the hotel and we were traveling with Dave. And one of them was at the hotel where we did the triple gateways. Let me make sure I'm saying it right. Is it Garnett Hotel or is it Garrett?
It's the Garnett.
It's the Garnett. So we were at the Garnett Hotel, the 1858. Let me make sure.
Garnett, yeah.
We were at I was walking downstairs and they had just pulled up. So I knew they had pulled up and I heard some noise downstairs. I was like, how'd they get in? It's locked. I was like, there's no way they could get in. And so I walked downstairs and I'm walking into the kitchen, and on the table sits my gigantic gateway, that one, the multi-input one. It weighs like 30 pounds. It's ridiculous, and it's in its carrying case, just sitting on the table. As I'm walking to it, it gets pushed off the table. You see it push off, and the entire bag flips. And it lands like 3 feet from the table, and it captured on the live camera, captured on the live feed. That was probably the best poltergeist activity of the week. We did capture the door opening at McIntyre Villa right after I arrived. On the security cam, the door opened, and there was one more piece, and I always forget it. We did have one more piece of poltergeist activity.
I don't remember. It's obviously going back to the footage because you've been to so many places. I have to go back in the footage from the other night here when my speaker came out of my pocket, because I mean,
It is
somebody,
Garnett House,
Garnett.
1858.
I don't know, like, if my wire could have hooked onto something. Someone said it looked like it did. I don't know. I have to go back and actually check it out.
Yeah, we need to review that. I'd like to see it because
I couldn't. It definitely felt like it was pulled out of my pocket. It could have been hooked on something. I don't know how it could have been. Like, there was, I don't know. So that was weird. And then the whole thing with the text message, and then the red eyes.
The text message, dude.
Yeah. And that also reminds me too, like, I can't wait to review when Eric and I were at the Selma Mansion, because that shit
was a crazy investigation.
My God. Like, that's another one where I got a phone call while you
Yes.
guys, I was live streaming,
Right at the beginning.
and I got a phone call, and I'm like, who is this? And I don't answer the phone call unless they leave me a
It was
message.
unknown. It was
And it
unknown.
left me a
number.
message, and I listened back. What did it say? I'm following you.
I'm following you.
I'm following you in like a total EVP. It wasn't even someone playing a prank. It was a straight up low frequency like voice. And then like we're in the room getting crazy stuff, and I see that white light anomaly come right through the door, go right to Eric's phone, and it shut off right as it got to
Right
the
as
phone.
it hit it, and he filmed the whole thing.
Yeah, I got the whole thing. So I have to go back and snag all that. That's going to be really a good one too.
That was nuts. I saw
yeah.
some more questions.
I was very surprised how active that place was.
Dude, it was small and super active. I knew the footsteps on EVP was nuts last night. Oh yeah. The one in the attic.
I know people asked before. Yes, we're investigating tonight.
Yeah, exactly. Rebecca, what's up, Rebecca?
I don't know how long we're gonna go. I mean, it seems like we've been doing this so many days. It's like we're starting to get drained a little easier.
Yeah, we were drained quick last night.
Yeah, so we'll definitely do a few hours tonight. So
What is Sean's channel name? Sean Austin Music and Paranormal.
yeah, if you just type in search, I just realized Sean Austin Paranormal, it comes right up.
Nice.
So you just type in SEANAUSTIN Paranormal. And obviously, anyone who wants to go join Eric's as well, because I know everyone likes to switch back and forth and watch everyone's channel. You get different perspectives. You can watch one on your TV, one on your phone, one on your laptop, one on your tablet.
Yep.
You know, Epic Paranormal TV for Eric over here. And what was the text message? What did it say? It said, what did it say again?
It was like two random words and then a message.
Scratch it. I'll start with him.
Yeah. Yep.
And it was just like, oh my gosh, like it's saying it wants to target one of us or me or something like that. And I just knew I didn't write it, and I was flipping out. I was just like, what the heck?
All right, Lori Lit Lola says you two really work well together. Thank you. We
Thank
think
you.
so too. And then my man Brandon, Geeked Up Paranormal, he sent me a message on Messenger. I don't have it here. Did you send me a message?
Yeah,
All right,
and
I'll
like
look for it.
guys, man, I know this is like, you know, really big hyped up for me personally. You know, this is gonna be really intense. You know, going to this Mason house
Friday.
Like, I just like, and what a week we had here. I didn't expect this to be this crazy.
Dude,
this
it's been
week.
nuts.
I'm just like, oh my god. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know what to expect, what's going to go on. But, guys, we do plan on I think we're going to do it on the first night, actually. We're going to do the crazy gateway connection thing, the Menage gateway. We're going to do it in the basement of the Mason house, which I believe is the worst part of the house, is the basement, because I feel like that's where I saw clairvoyantly, like, torture equipment, like metal knives and chains and shit like that I believe that he did with women. Where you feel like this queasy feeling and the signs of a doorway of some sort. So, yeah, no, that's why, tomorrow night I'm probably going to rest out. I might do a quick stream tomorrow, or I might just lay low tomorrow. I don't know. Eric's probably going to do one more, but
Tomorrow I'm going to be doing solo. Just you and me, the entire house to ourselves.
Yeah, Eric's actually he's got to go home because he's got to get.
I'll be
his
leaving
doggies.
Sunday, unfortunately.
So he's only staying at the Mason house for 2 nights.
I know, that
so we have
sucks.
2 more days at the Mason house. So I've been doing this every day since last Wednesday. I mean, I didn't stream Wednesday, but they were streaming on Spirit Realm Network, and we did investigating that night. So I've been investigating every night: Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So that's 8 days in a row that I've been investigating this house.
That's nuts.
So that's why I'm like, tomorrow I just kind of want to take it easy. So I might go meet up with a friend or my cousin that lives nearby. So I'm thinking tomorrow should be like a good rest day to me because this is going to be personal, and you guys have been hearing the stuff that's been coming in, leading up. These things know that we're coming. I mean, remember I said last night. It said something like, "Bring it," or "We're waiting," or
Yeah, it said both of those things. It said
It said
bring it and
something
we're
like-
waiting. We're
Yeah,
waiting for you.
We're waiting for you.
No, we're expecting you.
We're
It said we're
expecting you,
expecting
that's
you.
what it was.
Yep.
So
Brandon, I just got your message. He asked, what's been our scariest paranormal experience overall? Not just here, but overall.
I've had so many. I have to say the experience with the Mason is definitely one of them.
Yeah, for sure.
When I crossed over those two women that I believe, seeing the red face of the black horns, and then coming home, and then in my bed seeing a shadow dart around my bed, and I see a vision of this man who's decomposed. You can't see it looked like a zombie. His mouth is like you could see his teeth.
Dude, I
glow,
forgot
like-
to tell you, when I went up to the attic during my daytime solo, I got a flash image of a man with a zombie face standing at the top of the steps.
That could be him.
It was just boom, it just hit me, and I was
Yeah.
like, what the hell?
Yeah.
I forgot all
And
about
he just did this, like, "You're dead," at the side of my bed.
Ugh.
And then, like, I saw the shadow with black horns, and it said, when it spoke, it was like through a subwoofer. It was like, "There are rules," like that. And I had shot up, and it was just one of those intense things. It's just like, whoa. I definitely say, like, my first time at Revenant Acres is up there too, because that was like
Ooh.
really, really bad. Like, we left the investigation because it was so bad, and I've never left an investigation because it's bad. I mean,
Yeah, Seven's no joke.
yeah, I mean,
Especially when Seven's got energy.
yeah, I felt it trying to possess me. Half my body was like going in pins and needles, and I remember the first time Dave handed me the spirit box. He's like, "Yo, the energy off this is like crazy right now," and I handed it to me, and I felt it like just pins and needles, half my body. I'm like, and knowing that you've seen videos of people getting possessed in this place, and if you look at that video, I mean, it's legit.
messed up.
I mean,
It's
it's
messed
not someone idiot YouTuber trying to fake something. Like, this guy's drooling at the mouth, he's contorting his arm, and his eyes are dilated, and like his voice sounds layered, and it doesn't sound like it's himself. And knowing that, and what my friend had actually, our friend David Weatherly, he had shown me a picture the last time they were there with Dave. He was on the bench with the piano, and he was thrown off the bench of the piano.
Jeez.
And when he felt this big burning feeling on his leg, and literally on his leg is like a full adult size bite mark right into his leg.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so he had shown me this before going in there, and then starting to feel this energy come through me. I'm like, that's it, everyone. I'm like, we're getting holy water right now. So we went into the kitchen, and I put holy water on, and they're putting holy water on. If you know the room adjacent to the kitchen where you kind of look to the right, that dark little room.
Yeah.
So I, like, in my peripheral vision, I look over there, and like the best thing I could tell you what it looked like was, that face that flashes in The Exorcism, that white face, that horrible face with the messed up teeth. That's what I saw. It looked just like that, and I yelled, I'm like, "What the hell was that?" And they're, "What?" I'm like, "Dude, I just saw something." And then he runs by the room, and it says like devil minion, something like that. And then Dave's running through the house throwing the holy water around. We were getting like the shit smell out of nowhere, and I was getting like a flash of like some boar-like creature with tusks, he didn't even know the recorder was in his pocket. And while he was throwing holy water around, and then we listened back, it would record it, and while he's throwing holy water around, I hear this voice say, "You better pray it burns."
Oh my
Just
God.
like that. And then we took a break, and then we went upstairs. With that room's messed up too. It's all painted black in the room.
Yeah.
And once again, we're in the room, the shit smell, and then we were live streaming this, and I started to feel it trying to get inside my body, like pins and needles.
That's where I felt it was.
And
up
I just
there.
said, "In the name of Jesus Christ, I revoke your permission, back the hell away." And that's when it felt like a truck hit the entire house, and it shook. We were just we turned off all of our equipment, looking at each other in shock. And then all of a sudden we hear coming up the steps, coming up like this, and all of a sudden you just start to hear. We were just like, "Are you kidding me?" I mean, at this point, we're just poking this thing at this point, and knowing what has happened to people, we're just it's probably best that we just leave. And I'm sure, just like you as well. I mean, for months after, I'd be investigating. You hear "I am 7" through Spirit
over and
Box.
over again. Oh, and we got "You're nothing" here. Remember?
Yeah.
That's like Seven's catchphrase.
yeah.
Is "You're nothing."
Yeah.
And so that was freaky.
And I've heard that in my bed before. I've heard someone scream that in my ear. "You're nothing."
That's probably Seven
It could be.
doing what he does. Yeah, dude. Revenant Acres is no joke. So that whispering, you know, the voices you're talking about, I've heard that before at Thornhaven Manor. It was Alex and me investigating, and that night I will never forget it. It seems like a fever dream. Everything that happened to us there. At one point, the house shook so bad that I was sure that an airplane was like crashing over us. The house was just like violently shaking, and those voices, like we would hear like thumps in the house, and then the voice like just like talking, just absolute talking. But the scariest thing for me, like, I mean, that demon offering me a deal before going to Sally House, that messed me up for a while because it made so many stories I had heard real. It made so many things real that I didn't think were real before, that I thought were just for show, like demon deals. You know, I didn't think demons would deal so casually, but I guess they will. I guess they're in the business of souls or the business of something, the business of suffering.
Oh yeah.
But that was one of my scariest experiences. And I'm sure there's a lot that you all can think of that I'm just not thinking of right now. As far as like scary.
Margaret's got a question.
Hi, Margaret.
So how do you guys compress or relax from these investigations, especially with the Bellaire House? Thanks for taking us on this crazy journey. Blessings. Thank you so much, Margaret, for the support. Appreciate the question. Like I said, I've been blessing my room every night. I've been saying protection prayers, and because I mean, if you sleep in a place like this where there's oppressive energies that are hovering around, lurking around, and things like that, and you don't get rest, if you don't sleep well, that lowers your vibration and allows these things to make you more susceptible to their psychological and emotional attacks, because that's really what oppression is. They want to break you down mentally to the point where they can have you and influence your emotions to the point where you want to harm yourself or others. So that's why, I've been sleeping pretty decently here. So I just, after that nightmare, the first night where it kind of really got me and I felt a little tired, I'm like, I can't do this if I'm sleeping in this place for this long, and I'm going to be targeted because I'm sensitive, and these things can come to me more easier than your average person. So, I mean, I took a trip, just, get out of the house and go out to eat a couple of times, just leaving the house, just getting some fresh air. I mean,
That's big.
It's definitely big. So,
and he's also we're both musicians. So one thing we do when we're not on the road is we're always writing or creating something. And that helps tremendously too. Because that relieves a lot of tension that you can't otherwise access.
Oh yeah. I mean, for me, writing songs, I mean, putting my emotions to words and actually being able to sing it, and it's an extension of what means something to your soul, your heart and soul. So yeah, I mean, music for me has always been an invisible therapist for many years, and obviously being involved in spirituality. I mean, music and spirituality go hand in hand.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. I mean, anything what's good for you as a person that would help you, but having a strong faith foundation is really important for me. See my blessed, St. Michael pendant, and how they mention it all the time. And when I take it out, see them react and things like that. Getting validation of my protection and things like that too.
They're always talking about the pendant.
Yeah.
They're always bringing it up.
I use that. I use that to my advantage. Remember, it's not me who's stronger than these evil spirits. It has to be my faith, because if I think it's me, that becomes ego. And these things will know that. They will know that you're thinking yourself. I've seen videos of documentaries of priests being taught and doing exorcism, and he was telling one story where he was exorcising a demon in a person and doing a solemn exorcism, and he started to get confident doing exorcism. He realized he was becoming successful, but this one was really serious. And things were going his way, and all of a sudden he started, it became really tough, and then the demon started laughing through the person, and he realized that his ego started to intertwine and kind of get in the way of his faith, and this thing picked up on it immediately, and he realized he had to reassess and take a step back and approach it knowing that it's your faith, it's your spiritual faith, knowing that God's more powerful than any evil spirit, and not you, because that's the fine line right there, and these things can see right through that. So that's why the ego thing is it's not supposed to work with spirituality at all. I mean, when it comes to spiritual gifts, being a spiritual person, we're supposed to help each other and synergistically all work together for the greater good to help our fellow humans. So that's the way we should all be moving forward with that.
Right.
But that's how these things can affect us, and they'll go after people, and use your ego to kind of twist it around in a bad way.
Another thing that helps is working out. We both stay active as possible, and that helps a lot, especially because when you're battling something spiritual, you need another kind of release, and a physical release really helps. because like when you're battling something spiritually, it can drain you, it can mess you up, it can mess with your emotions, but you can't fight it back physically. You can't throw fists, you know. Or and if it's a good experience, like where you moved that guy to the light last night, like if it's an experience like that, you can't hug him or fist bump him, high five. There's no physical interaction, so working out really helps tremendously to help kind of balance out what we do spiritually.
Yeah, and now Margaret, I know you just said that you were in tears about the man crossing over last night. I was a little
awesome,
teary-eyed too, and just realizing I was just editing the clip of that happening and what the messages that came through in the spirit box. I'm actually going to post it and clip it out because I thought it was so amazing. Praying and then hearing the voice say, "We know you care." It's just very, very profound for me. It's just like, these spirits know that. They know that I'm willing to try and help them, and to actually give validation of that. And then to say, there's a couple more responses on there. It's just like, he went up. And then like, my pop, he's there, and that's part of my prayer, praying for their loved ones to come to the light, incorporated with trying to pray for the angels to come so they can have this perfect scenario going on where they'd have the best chance of accepting God's unconditional love and forgiveness, and just go and feel comfortable in that process. It's pretty amazing stuff, and that's a good part, a positive thing. Because this stuff is scary, it's eerie and things like that, but remember, these are human souls and we have to treat them as such. So we should be appreciative and humble to communicate with them, have these experiences, and not just treat it like an amusement park, because in the end they're still stuck there. And if there's somebody that can actually hear you pray or guide them out of a dark place that they're in and send them into the light, we should absolutely do everything that we can in our power to do so.
Even if it's just a slim possibility, even if it's the slimmest chance, it is worth doing. And even if it just helps them feel better in that moment, it's still worth it, because not enough people try to help spirits. Most people try and get something from them. They try and gain something from the spirit instead of trying to offer anything to them.
Yeah. Nick, I'm very skeptical of big paranormal TV shows. Can you recommend or anything that you watch or like? I mean, I've been so busy, I haven't really watched that many paranormal shows. So
here's what I tell everyone. It's like when you're watching a paranormal show, if you're watching it and you like the paranormal, just assume that it's all real to enjoy it. But don't try and go showing people as proof of that from a TV show. Don't use like a TV show as proof of the paranormal, but at least watch it as if it's real, so that way you can enjoy it. That's what I do, because I mean, there's some shows that there's just no way some stuff happens. But one thing I recommend is following real investigators like Sean and me. And apparently you are on here, and so that's good. This is where you can come to get like authentic, real evidence and real paranormal investigations.
Yeah.
And then of course you can still enjoy the paranormal TV shows, which are they a guilty pleasure? I don't know, but they're fun to watch. They're fun to watch.
I mean, some of them get substantial evidence sometimes, but some of them, and then obviously I've been on TV before. I'm not had some great experiences, but I would never fake anything when it comes to evidence. I mean, I don't need to. You guys watch us live. You sit here, look what happened this week. I mean, imagine what this would happen and put it in a show.
I know,
are you
right?
kidding me? Are you kidding me? So, I mean, it was straight up horror movie shit. So, I mean, and then you watch other people who just easily fake stuff, and go on YouTube. You get a lot of people that like claim they're paranormal investigators, but they just go out there and they throw an object across the room, like, oh my God, it just like poltergeist activity, like, because they want the views, they want the money, and they want the attention.
That's one thing you got to be wary of. If you see a lot of poltergeist activity, it's usually fake.
Yeah. Poltergeist activity is so rare.
I mean,
if something like that happens, it's just like, even when we were just at the cabin, I mean, like, when, we weren't even filming.
The cable,
we weren't even filming. There was like a wire that was like this big in a rolled up circle, and like we were sitting there talking for like 15, 20 minutes.
Right in front of it too. Like it's not like far away. It's not like in the other room. It's right in front of us.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden it just there was like a placemat, like a tablecloth on it, and it was like one of those plasticky things.
Real lightweight.
So you actually heard like as it was glided across the table and landed right in front of my lap, and we just looked at each other like. But I mean, that's what happens. Like, it's just so rare. Like, you might not be filming, or when it does, it's very far in between. It's not something that you're going to experience all the time. So if you're on a YouTube channel and they have like 5 poltergeist activities or more
in one video,
yeah, it's that freaking ridiculous.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you right now, they're fake. So it's a shame, because it angers me, because it makes a bad name for people like us who sit here and investigate for hours and hours
And weeks
just
on end.
Yeah, I mean, like this. I mean, like just the thought of the chance of experiencing something like that. I mean, even if I wasn't filming and something like that happens, I mean, it would make my whole trip, because it's just another one of those experiences. And like when I first started investigating, I never even went out with a camera. I was just going out with a recorder. I was just excited to know that this shit is real.
Right.
So I was just going for the
Right.
experience myself. So when the live streaming thing happened, like, when phones were available to do this sort of thing, it's exciting to have you guys witness it with me. It's kind of like, who really wants to go to the movies by yourself? You go to the movies with friends, and we all look at each other like, oh my God, this movie's amazing, because we're feeding off each other's energy. And I think it's exciting, when we do some of these live investigations, because we're like, oh my God, this is crazy. Like, what did you guys see? Did you see that too? Did you hear that? And, we're feeding each other, off each other's energy. And I think that's a really amazing thing. And I was telling you guys before, just the other day, and even, now it's just like, I'll tell you right now, like this experience this week, and leading into the Mason House, I'll definitely be writing about this in one of my future books, no question. I mean, this is huge stuff, and you guys are, people who watch are a part of that story, and I think that's really cool, because I mean, even my first book, people who've been watching my Periscope before, Periscope's obviously ending, they were there, they witnessed when I was there at the Mason House, they were there for a bunch of chunks of my book, and I think that's special,
And the people who were upstairs for the portal to hell being opened up with the 3 gateway devices.
That was,
being there live, that's like
Yeah.
lucky experience. And it was late too, and we still had a bunch of people there live witnessing what we went through.
Yeah, and I know some of you people were feeling sick at home. Some people's dogs were like barking.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm telling you, like it was really bad. I literally felt like we were like standing at the gates of hell. Like that's the closest
and it was
to hell.
erupting out of it.
It really was, man. I was just like, and when we did it the next 2 nights, it kind of like calmed down each time. Like it was just that one opportunity. I don't know what it was, the perfect storm, so to speak. But we'll see what happens when we get Dave's gateway back, and see if it does it again, like in the basement. Like we're gonna have to be really on guard, because it's gonna be bad.
And we'll be closer to a full moon.
Yeah.
And I think that combination of gateways is right. Like his, yours, and mine.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's like part of the key, part of the component.
Yeah. But let's see.
I saw some other questions here.
So planning to do Margaret. So we're going to be doing a documentary about the Mason House.
Mm-hmm.
This whole thing's getting filmed professionally, on top of some of the live streaming that's going to go on this weekend and at the Mason House. So that is going to happen.
Full body apparition rare. And I would say poltergeist activity is more rare than full body apparitions. I've seen more full body apparitions than poltergeist. I don't know. I'd say, yeah, okay, they're probably about equal. You're right.
Airspace, that's nuts.
And the TV shows, look at them as paranormal entertainment and just enjoy them. You know what I mean? They're good. And they put a lot of time and work and effort into those. So definitely don't feel bad about watching them. Definitely watch them up, enjoy them.
You just gotta, it's good, it's healthy to have an open mind, but be objective about it too. I mean, you can watch stuff on, videos and TV all the time. The difference is that it's edited down. So there is the chance of things that are, a bit contrived to make a story work on a show. But, when you watch us, when we do live, I mean, it's raw. We can't fake anything. Like, I mean, you can tell. I mean, you can tell when someone's being over dramatic and trying to get attention. If you really just take a closer look at them, I mean, look at their videos. I mean, just like, oh my God, like, this thing just flew across while we're in the video. Like, and there's like string there. Like, they'll do anything. I mean, it sucks. But that's why I tell people, firsthand experience is the only way you know. And like, while you guys watch live, that's the closest thing you can do to actually witnessing it firsthand.
Yep.
Because there's some things that we just can't fake in real time. And we try to debunk
And now we
stuff.
have multiple angles too, so they can see live from multiple sources.
Yeah.
It's not just from one camera angle.
Yeah. We were live on Spirit Realm Facebook, and he was live on his and
Yep.
live on mine. So be objective, but you learn. But people like us, we go out and we getting genuine evidence. I mean, you get a little better at trying to look at evidence and be like, okay, that's a little suspicious to me.
Yep.
I remember, like, I'm not gonna name some show, but like,
Be careful.
no, it's not like it's not a big show, but like I remember like some show, like I don't know, like some door like slammed, and like the guy just stared at it. the door slammed right in front of his face.
And he
like,
didn't
and
scream?
the other team members literally just walked in like, what happened? And they were like probably like 15 feet away. I'm just like, if a door slammed
Everyone's going to be
in front of
freaking
his,
out.
everyone's going to be screaming like,
oh my God.
like, where is everybody? What's going on? Like,
Yeah.
did that just happen? Like, that's real. But like, when you see like certain reactions to like some people, like I was just like, that to me was a little suspicious. Like I look at certain things and I'm just like, no, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. Because I mean, dude, if that happened, right, like,
We'd be freaking
we'd be
out,
like
dude.
running around the house, like screaming bloody murder. And I'm just giving like a random example of like some like show. It wasn't a big show. It just popped into my head. Just one of those things. I'm just like, no. There's no way he's staring at a door, it slams, and he's just like, what happened over there? Hey guys, the door just slams, and they're in this house, and it's all silent. And they're like, oh, what happened? What, you didn't hear the door slam either when you walked in? Seriously? So he's got no reaction, and then the team walks in like, oh, so the door just slammed? I'm like, really? How many takes did you do that with it? It's just like that stuff. I just like, it's frustrating.
Right. But at least we can do this live. And
Yes.
people can see everything and all our crazy ass reactions. No double takes. It is what it is. Cheryl had a question. She asked, what do you do to get rid of a spirit attachment? I guess just like a regular spirit attachment.
It depends what type of spirit's attached to you. What is the exact invitation that it was gained onto you? Where did it come from? So there's factors that come into play of what you would need to do
Right.
in order to get rid of it. So it's not just, it's dependent on a bunch of things. Did it latch onto you because you went to a location and just got on you?
Let's say that. Let's say like she goes to a location, she comes home, she notices stuff's happening, and she's starting to feel bad. And it doesn't seem nothing demonic, like no sulfur smells, but it seems like something's clearly messing with her.
Well, I mean, you might have to have like a deliverance set over you. I mean, this kind of relinquishes and revokes the permission for it to. You would recite some of these prayers, and then get blessed. To make sure that this thing would be, displaced from you, and probably would have your home blessed as well. Because if it's pushed off you and it still has the invitation to be in your location, it'd be best to do both elements to that process. So, but it just depends. But I mean, hey, I've been oppressed before, and it's no walk in the park, man. They know exactly what your weaknesses are, and that's what I'm dealing with even right now. I mean, back to this guy's house. I mean, he kind of messed with me this past summer over a situation, and I'm just like, and he was taking responsibility for it and laughing at it, and I just knew that this guy's been around. I've known he's been around. I've heard him, but then to know that he's taking credit for something. And then looking back at other things, it makes me scratch my head. There may have been other moments like that. I just like, I can't have this guy kind of threatening me all the time and picking up him and coming through investigations and always looking for the opportunity to kind of like mess with me. And if he can't get to me, he goes around me and does stuff. You don't want something like that obsessed with you with retaliation and just looking for any opportunity any day. And I had heard him too in the beginning of the summer. I have plans for you, big boy. It's just like, I got to be, now I know, and considering I took two women away from him, and look how she can hear in that scream, exactly what it did to him. It's full of rage and just.
And he always says hell to pay.
Yeah, hell to pay. You have hell to pay. I have you dead to rights. I'll slit your throat. The whole 9 yards. Let me see if I missed any questions here.
Guys, thank you all so much. This has been an awesome Q&A. We're going to check back through here for some questions. And if you've been thinking about
Yes,
something,
Lori.
throw it in the questions now.
Ahoy, Hecbis. How we doing, man?
What's up, Leo91? Denise, Randy Paranormal. I see you, Randy. Cheryl, thank you for that question.
Yeah, definitely, Nick. It was freaky as hell. Sorry, just go back to chat, make sure I didn't miss any of you guys.
Claire Bear. Hey, Claire.
Do you think some spirits get so corrupted that the way they appear get distorted to something non-human? And 100%.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
literally what we're dealing with the Mason.
Yep.
I believe this man was a sadistic sociopath. I think that he may have made a deal in life. I think he was a Freemason. I believe the connection of him being an evil doctor and a Freemason. He was evil in life, and because of what he did, there's a demonic entity responsible for his soul, and I think it influences him to keep him in that sadistic rage that he was when he was alive, which is also obsessing with his retaliation towards me and thinking about the demon saying there are rules. The combination of those two, they're intertwined, definitely, and we're definitely dealing with not just this man, but also the demonic spirit that is intertwined with this man's soul somehow, and there's something demonic in this house. It's connected to it. Yeah, 100%. It's literally what we're dealing with right now and what's coming up this weekend.
That was a good question. Sandy Wolf, you'll be back later? Hell yeah, we're going to be live streaming here in a little bit.
Would it be dangerous to tell a dark entity to fuck off? Wouldn't that show your strength? You got to watch that because that can turn into ego. So, provoking, I don't provoke. The way I've been taught by Ralph, if you provoke for the sake of just acting tough, what is that? What does that equate to? That's ego. So, and that's what they're going to try to do. They're going to try to twist and turn that and get you in a rage because, I feel anger. I sat here last night. I felt like I wanted to throw the table upset.
Yep.
It's projecting its emotions on its intent. And if you get influenced by that and actually think it's yours, or if you want to feel tough and, put your physical muscles on the table here, that's what it wants, because it wants you to say, do something to me. Because if you say do something to me, that's the invitation. Now, that doesn't have to do something to you that night. It doesn't have to do something to you tomorrow or next month or next year. You're talking years down the line when you have no freaking clue it has anything to do with the paranormal. There's no conception of time in the spirit realm, and it's going to want to have the best chance to victimize you personally on every single level possibly. So it wants to, be able to take that to its advantage because they're tactically coming at us from the shadows.
Right.
So that's something that can actually start to haunt you when you thought it's way past that time period, because you think, oh, it'll do something to me to that night. Even if like the story of the movie The Conjuring 3 is going to be based off a story of the boy that was possessed, and I'm going to be making a YouTube video about how this demonic spirit has followed me from going to that property. That's the beast, by the way. The boy would call the demonic entity the beast. When he was possessed, he would call it the beast. And now that shit's been coming up ever since I've been going, ever since I went to that property, into the well where the boy said the demon would come in and out of. Anyways, the boy was possessed. He was having exorcisms done, and the uncle Arnie, which was dating his older sister, was his uncle? I forget. I think it was dating his the older sister. But anyways, his name was Arnie, and this is what The Conjuring 3 is going to be based off. So one night he told the demon, "Why don't you just come do something to me? Leave that boy alone." And then got in his car in the driveway, and then his car just revved and just went into a tree, and then he saw the demon standing there in front of the car.
Damn.
So then all of a sudden, pushed down a little bit time-wise, out of nowhere, this man was a normal man, never hurt anybody anywhere. He flipped and he stabbed to death his landlord.
What?
And then this is the whole story, that the Warrens went to go to court to try to get this man free because they said he was demonically possessed, that he snapped because he was possessed and he was influenced. So that's what this whole story's about. So I'm just giving you an example of when you yell out and say, do something to me, it's looking for you to make an invitation, because once you say that, you're permitting it to do that at any given time in your life. So you have to be prepared for that, and that's what it wants you to do. So I would not try to be tough with it. With your physical self, you have to, that's why I say in the name of Jesus Christ, back away.
Faith.
It's not me that's stronger than these things. If you're dealing with a fallen angel, they have they have the abilities of angels. They're powerful. We're not more powerful than them. We can't fight these things. We can only speculate what they're trying to do to us from the shadows. They have a huge advantage. They're at war with our kind, humankind, and you got to be aware of that. So they want to use that to kind of change that in your mind to say the wrong thing or the right thing to them, so they can use it as an invitation to get in.
Yeah, they'll try and trick you and get you to say things that you would never say.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yes, Alana.
That's a good point. Be careful how you approach it.
Yeah, the investigator that stabbed himself at the Villisca Axe murder house. Yes, I remember hearing about that.
How recent was that?
I don't know, a few years. I don't remember
So
how long, but I remember hearing about that.
a paranormal investigator stabbed himself at the Villisca Axe murder house. I'm gonna pull that up. I won't say any names.
I actually, I do remember hearing about that. Nice. It was a while back, Stephanie. Thank you guys. If you're just coming in, appreciate liking this video. Yeah, you gotta be careful. No problem, Susan. Yes, Dawn.
Oh wow, critical stabbing injuries.
You can
My
get there if you
goodness.
wanna. Just making sure I didn't miss any of your questions.
That is like a legit thing, guys.
Do you think the Mason is fearful of facing judgment? 100%.
Yeah.
So when I came home and he started following me around for a while, I'll never forget, like, I'd ask him, why don't you just have the courage to go into the light, you know, and have a path towards forgiveness? And he goes, in time. Yeah, I mean, if you were a murderer and you tortured poor women and killed them, and then you realize you pass away, and then you're going to be accountable for those mistakes, you'd be terrified to go towards that light too, because you don't know what's going to happen to him, and those demons want to keep him, you know, in that state. Be like, oh, you know, you can, you know, keep being who you are if you stay here. He doesn't want him to say, God, forgive me. It wants to keep him in hell, in his own version of hell. I mean, listen to the pain in that man's the voice, and it's pure rage and pain. But I mean, it's fitting considering what he did when he was alive.
And I think a lot of spirits don't move on because they're scared of judgment. Like, even if they did something minor, they might have such a huge fear about judgment that they stay here. And I think that's a big reason they stay. That and to look over loved ones.
Yeah.
And so those are like two reasons why people will stay here. And so I think they'll get stuck here because of it. I always tell everyone, like, if you pass on, go to the light. Don't worry about us. Don't worry about here. Don't try and reach Sean and me. Just go to the light. And then once you're in the light, then reach out to us if you can.
Yeah. Well, that's the problem with a lot of these human spirits, I believe, that, you know, they feel like they're actually leaving this place. They're leaving it all behind. What they're doing is they don't understand. I believe that they're transitioning. So you're returning to your higher self. So I try to tell the ghosts that, like, once you return into the light, those answers of why you came here as a soul and to live in a human body, the answers to those questions lie in the light. That's where we come from, originate from. But you have to take that leap of faith and, you know, let go and let God in order to, you know, take the step and step away from this and just realize it's a higher vibrational consciousness and awareness, really. But that's what a ghost is that they're not able to let go of something that occurred in their human life, whether it's judgment, being murdered, or loss, or attached to locations or people. So any of those things that happen to us in our lives that, you know, that you wouldn't be able to let go because your consciousness lives on. So that separation between our human self, our human soul, and what's in the light is the disconnect of what these ghosts, I believe, experience and stick around becoming earthbound.
Yeah, and it's like tragic to think about souls getting stuck here. And because over time, it seems like some of them deteriorate into their emotions. Mm-hmm. They start losing a sense of self. Some of them don't even know their name. They're like barely coherent, but their emotions are just consuming them. They're just like, it's just pure energy. It's pure energy, and it's all the emotional energy that they had. And it's sad to think when they're stuck. And it's another reason why it's so important to try and help them.
Yeah.
And no one, like hardly anyone does that.
And that's why I became emotional last night when it says, we know you care. And it's like plural. It's like, we all know you care. That's why I believe they gravitate towards me and they say pray all the time, because they know I'll do it at any given moment. And, you know, I'm just about done this clip and I'll be posting it after a video. Yeah. Because I thought it was pretty amazing. It was just, you know, heartwarming, especially, again, being in a place like this with all this creepy, dark stuff. But, you know, again, there's human souls here and they need help.
2 questions there. I think we just asked.
Do you think the lost souls have a way out once they lose their sense of self?
They can get it back, I think. I think once they become coherent, they can remember, they can tap into their soul and remember who they are, who they were, and get back out. But they can lose it for a long time.
They can lose it for a long time. So that's why in some of these cases, interacting them on that, you know, having the intent and on a direct level to them and speaking to them and them listening to you might give them that awareness. That might be planned in God's way, where some of us humans can get in their way and say, look, it's okay. Whatever there's the light. I'm praying for you to see the light. Now it's time to go. So that connection from, me doing that to some of them actually might be the key element to them. But some of them, I think that discovered it on their own, and it might take some time before they realize that. And that might be part of the journey as well. Yes.
We've both been to Willow's Weep.
Yeah, I actually didn't live in it. There's no way I could live in that place because it's not really functional to live in.
Well, not only that, energy-wise, it's not functional to live in either.
I investigated for an entire week live on Periscope with Dave a few years back. Even crawled under the house where they found children's bones, and we got growled at under there. Loads of stuff was going on, and I know we went back one of our trips, actually, a month or two.
It was the start of one of our trips.
It was the start of one of our trips, yeah.
And I was there solo for 2 hours before y'all got there, and I didn't realize how dangerous that place was till the second time I went back. I can't even talk about the second time, though. But, because it's going to be in a documentary. But the first time, it was so, dude, I could see and hear and feel that dude screaming, just absolutely screaming. And I knew nothing about the place. I never knew there was a dude who got eaten by pigs. I never knew that there was screaming. I didn't know any of that, but you pick up, it's something that's there. It's there in the environment, and I think most people would pick up on it. It's so, obvious. It's so present. But Willow's Weep's messed up, dude.
It's a messed up place,
It's a messed up location. I don't see how people live there. Well, they barely
there's
did.
lots, people have taken their life and just been depressed there, and so all that energy just stains the place. No, Dave does not live there. He lives in West Virginia.
He owns the Weep.
He owns it, though, currently.
But he does not live there. Yeah, Willow's Weep's messed up. There's a good clip on YouTube. I think it's a History Channel.
William Shatner talked about it. If you type in Willow's Weep, unexplained, I think there's a whole little thing on it from History Channel.
It's really good.
And Dave's in it, actually.
Yeah, he's the one doing like a.
Why do some demons follow you home and create havoc in your life, and yet others don't, even when you bless yourself and demand them not to follow you?
I think demons have higher ups. They have a hierarchy. It might be like a Ponzi scheme or a pyramid scheme, but there is structure, and I think they have orders, and they follow what they're told to do. And so even if someone says, don't follow me, a demon might follow you no matter what until you get rid of it.
Margaret, are you referring to me with that question, or are you saying that as a whole?
Aunt Deb, there's no electric in the Weep right now.
Yeah, Deb, definitely.
And there's no plumbing either, I don't think. Or no water.
If you're referring to me, again, this is just an example, even what we're dealing with this weekend and going back to the Mason house. I mean, it's a very unique event taking place here, is that you go into people's homes and you try to help people dealing with their hauntings. And if they have something demonic in there, you do the exorcism ritual and you displace the dark energies from them. These are human souls that are still living in the physical plane. These are like the souls that the devil is attempting and trying to attain. So then you talk about souls that I may be sending into the light that the devil has currently suffering, and they're dead in some sort of hell. And I'm taking those souls away from the devil. Think about the level of effort and retaliation they would do to go up against me, more so than your average situation. And when the thing came to me and said there are rules, I don't know what it's referring to. Are these rules of the devil? I do know that if God accepted these souls of these women into the light, then I know I did the right thing. I had red marks show up on my wrists and my feet after that, on top of my feet. I don't know what it means.
You had the red marks recently.
Yeah, I show you guys on one of the streams, again on my wrist, and it hasn't happened in years. Is it a representation of stigmata? I don't know. But did Jesus get crucified to save souls? Yes. I don't know if it's connected to that. But I do know that there's no way that these spirits would be this pissed off at me this long if I didn't send those females into the light. I don't think they'd be just lying to me and be following me and so obsessed with me. So, that's why I say you step in the way of evil, you become an adversary to the enemy of man, and that's the devil, and you got to be prepared for that. Now, me, someone who's prays for spirits all the time, which a lot of people really don't do. So I don't know if there's some sort of other rules that I'm not aware of that allows these things that maybe I'm supposed to carry the cross of that and carry that cross of risk with these things allowing to be able to come to me to some degree because of that. But also I'm also sensitive and having psychic abilities where I can pick up on stuff more so than the average person and experience these visions and have these things happen to me more so. But also, we go to a lot of dark places. We take risks as investigators going to these places. I'm not just going in and helping families. We go to these dark places where these dark things are lurking, and they're all looking for opportunities to mess with us. So there's a lot of risks involved.
Yeah, it's not risk-free. That's absolutely
Yes, Lord,
for sure.
that is crazy. Have spirit their freedom when they cross over to God. Jesus, can they travel and visit us and go back? Yes, 100% believe that. I believe that when spirits transition into the light, they more interact with us in more coincidence-based stuff or dreams and things like that. I try to be you got to be very careful about information you get from spirits through spirit boxes, because you don't know what's trying to confuse you or give you half truths and things like that. But is it possible? Of course.
Rhonda asks, "Hey Eric, how are you feeling since the regression session yesterday?" Rhonda, my God, so that's part of the reason I was so messed up last night, and the reason I had to call it quits early is because that past life regression messed me up. It messed me up bad, and I understood fully what Kristen meant by it can really wreck your day. And I felt like I'd forgotten the most important thing that had ever happened to me. And I've spent 31 years just oblivious, just forgetting the most important thing that you could imagine. And it made me feel like empty, and I didn't feel like myself until it was about time to go to sleep, until that nighttime. I did not feel myself for like 12 hours. I didn't feel like myself. And it was really, and like bits and pieces of it are coming back to me today, and just different parts of it. And it was a whole lot. I feel normal. I feel like myself today. I feel normal, but I still feel weird. I still know, I feel like I know something I'm not supposed to know. I feel like I gained information that we're not supposed to have here. And part of me is definitely tore up about it. But I feel like that part of me has always been tore up my whole life. And now I just know why. But I hope that answers your question. So Rhonda, thank you for the question, by the way. And were you there? Did you see the session happen live? I feel a lot better today, though, just to answer your question briefly. Nancy Lee says, "What has been the most interesting thing about staying at the Bellaire House?" And then there's a second part to that, too. We'll get to that in a second. So first, what do you think is the most interesting thing so far about staying at the Bellaire House? For me, I think it's the way the energy has shifted.
Yeah.
And then up to that gateway, that triple gateway night with Dave, like every night's been so different. And that's indicative of a portal. Like Post Town's like that. Every night at Post Town's different. And there's obviously like some active doorway there. And here it's that same kind of feeling.
I like how the rooms in here, like you'll be just chilling in the room and on a dime, like just the whole energy just starts to shift out of nowhere in the room. Like you can feel a presence come in the room. And that's unique, that I don't feel very often. It's very noticeable. And then, yeah, I mean, obviously leading up to that, I mean, all the things, I mean, seeing the red eyes and the things that were leading up, like, that night you got there, it was already things were just wild. It seems like things were coming through the doorway of the portal already.
That boom. That's when I got there. It was like right after that.
Yeah. I feel like so much has happened. I don't even I feel like I'm even forgetting some stuff that happened.
Well, second part of that question, which is, this is a good one. What do you think you both will take away from this experience compared to before we got here and after we leave?
Well, this is unique because I've never lived in a haunted location for a week before that's this active. So that's interesting in itself. I've investigated, obviously we investigated 7 days in a row. We just did it in, was it September? And I've investigated the Willows Weep for 7 days in a row, but I wasn't living in there. So it's a unique thing, like to know like what you got to be careful of, and just being on guard mentally, making sure you get rest, Because again, when you're surrounded by oppressive energies, they want you to not have rest. So that's why I'm making sure, like, all right, nothing's gonna mess around me, because I'm more prone than your average person, because I'm sensitive to things, and I'll see, hear, and feel these things more often than everybody else. So, you know, I want to make sure that my right ear just started ringing like crazy out of nowhere.
You all right?
Yeah. I mean, some believe that's a spirit trying to communicate with you. And now we're getting into that hour where it's nighttime, and
7 o'clock.
the energies here start to change.
Yeah.
When it gets nighttime.
We were talking about that earlier. It felt nice and calm, peaceful in here earlier. And last night
it was getting really just, ugh.
It felt nasty.
Right here where we're sitting, it was getting
nasty.
icky too. I was starting to get, you know, I saw that wolf-like thing, and then I was seeing like that like tribal drum thing, and I was also seeing like donkeys with like bags over it, and people like pulling them with strings, walking. Like I was starting to get like, it was really weird, but it just didn't feel right. But then we got so drained so quickly, we were just like, all right, we're ending this. But I slept well last night. Like we went to bed nice and early, and we're gonna investigate tonight. I mean, after we do finish this stream here in a little bit, you know, we're gonna, you know,
you went to bed early. I went to bed at like 4 a.m. I stayed up with the overnight stream.
Oh, that's all you.
But I did it. Oh, it didn't break. Wow. So I did I've been staying in Edwin's room, which is supposedly the roughest room. And so that first night I was so tired, I was like, look, Edwin and any of the spirits here, here's an offering. I've been laying out offerings like nicotine gum, since I don't have cigarettes, Swedish fish, and that's helped tremendously. Because normally, like, if I'm in a haunted location and I don't do something like that, the spirits will mess with me. They'll do something, you know, they'll have nightmares, or they'll come to me and do something weird. But I was trying to relax, and I love that room. The room above us, I call it my room because I love it. I love the windows. I love the wood paneling. The bed, like the bed's the right amount of softness and firmness. I had to sleep in the altar room last night for the stream, and that altar room was not comfortable. It was. Again, I see why Mike had a hard time in there. But the thing I'm going to take away from this, so I've done something similar before. I stayed at Post Town for a week, living there, and it was in the dead cold of winter, and that room just could not get warm, and so I was like cold, and it was rough. It was really rough.
Thank you, Deb.
And but after staying here, the thing I'm going to take away, what am I going to take away from this experience? I don't know yet. I've had so much crazy stuff happen. I had that past life regression here, and I'll never forget when I remember her saying 3. I guess she was counting down, and I remember saying 3, and I was like, holy crap, I'm at the Bellaire House. It like hit me. I was like, I'm at the Bellaire House.
Love got a question here. How do you know you're encountering a being of light versus a dark entity tricking you, thinking that they're one? Do you ask if they love Jesus? I mean, that is a method you can do. But listening to what you hear, you have to be objective about what you hear. You don't want to just assume it's the truth. I mean, we can kind of be shocked and things, connect to things, but... In
my experience, most of them don't try for long. They'll mimic a light being maybe for a couple minutes, and then it's nasty. I don't think they can handle being that way. They have to be nasty, I think. And the longest I've ever heard is just a few minutes, and then it goes to its true nature.
And also, too, like, sometimes, like, I'll hear words come through, and I get a vibe with it. So I'm just like, I don't know. Like, if I hear a little kid say, like, help me, I'm just like, I don't know. That feels like there's something.
Or it's like a demented help me with layers on it.
It's just like, I don't know. It just feels off to me. So there's little things you got to be objective about everything you do hear. But, I mean, you can say, do you love Jesus? You can see how it reacts. But, you know, you got to be careful.
Haunted by Haunted, you slept in Edwin's room?
Go eat, guys, before it gets too late. I don't even know what time it is right now.
I think we're waiting on Kristen. Is she like waiting on us?
I remember the Annalise Michael story, and yeah, it's a really harrowing story as well. I did see that up there as well. Nope, I lost my stream for a second. Thank you, Marlene. Thank you, everybody, for all the support on this trip, for all the contributions to the super chats and the PayPals. You know, helps us do these types of trips. I know someone asked, Kristen was actually, I had talked to Kristen about doing this with her, with staying here at the Bellaire House. So that's kind of, I had talked with her about setting up this whole thing, and, you know, doing the thing on the Spirit Realm Network and living here for about a week and seeing what happens. And that's pretty much how this turned out. You know, Kristen's an awesome, amazing lady. and it's been an unforgettable experience.
Shout out to my man Brandon, Geeked Up Paranormal, throwing down 20 on the PayPal. Thank you so much, Brandon. That's huge. That is absolutely huge. And he said it's for gas and snacks and whatnot. It helps tremendous. And with the PayPal and the Facebook donation, guys, we can literally use those immediately. So it does help tremendously. So shout out to my man Geeked Up Paranormal, Brandon, in the chat. Thank you so much. That really is big. Like he was saying, it makes a big difference.
I do not use dowsing rods. I actually do believe that they can be dangerous. You should actually watch the episode of Ghost Hunter. It's an episode of A Haunting. You can watch it on, you just type it in. But the dowsing rods is like you're touching an item and you're asking the spirit to move with you. That's the danger where I believe where you're inadvertently allowing it to channel through you. When we're just holding a device and saying, speak through this, you're not saying move with me. And that's why the planchette and the Ouija board, I feel like there's kind of like a danger there where it can do something like that. So that's why I stray away from things like that. And knowing that 95% of demonic things, cases start with Ouija boards, and demonic cases have happened with just dowsing rods. Again, I know everyone used different methods in the paranormal field, and I do not judge, but for me, I don't mess around with that, and I don't recommend it. So anyone who wants to use their free will to take that risk, that's solely up to you, but that's something I wouldn't do.
Another question here. Someone said, or it's Leo, he said, someone told him that houses aren't haunted, people are. And I think both are. I think a place can be haunted and a person can be haunted, for sure.
No question. I mean, you're talking about a history of the land, the house. Now, people can be receptive to activating hauntings, and then there could be people that I think that are like energy killers. Like someone could come into a property that's typically active, and then nothing will happen. And then you get somebody else, and it's crazy. I've seen that many times before, even some of the big cases that are famous and all that. So that's all on the table for possibilities.
Yeah, I agree. Different energies. And you got to think that we give off a lot of energy, a whole lot, and the spirits pick up on a lot more of it than we're aware of.
Yeah.
There was another one in here. I don't know where it went. Oh yeah, Pops Metal. He's at the house right now with the girls, and he said a mirror fell down in the basement, in the haunted basement. So if you've been with my channel, you know that the basement has been a source of ridiculous activity. Some of the rare poltergeist activity I've ever captured has been in the basement. I've captured 2 things in the basement, both times on the SLS of all things too. But it was something physical moving in the basement. And anyways, a mirror fell on its own, which is weird because the mirrors have been in the same spot for months, literally months. But he said it didn't break. It literally fell down and didn't break. So that's kind of interesting.
Something from here has already made its way through your mirror into your haunted basement.
Dude, they
Eric.
were set up in an infinity mirror, like literally.
So, what do you say? We do this for a few more minutes and then down the 2-hour mark here?
Oh yeah, we're done.
Yeah, so.
We're done. So guys, if you have any last minute questions, shoot them in now. Otherwise, we're gonna hop off here. We're gonna eat with Kristen, I believe. Do you know where we're going?
I think you should just order takeout, so we're going to order something.
We're gonna eat here?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool.
And I'm going to get this actually, I'm going to post this, I'm going to finish this video with the crossing over of this gentleman and post the responses. So if you want to check that out, I'll post it on my Instagram.
That's gonna be a
and
good
on YouTube.
video.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a good video.
Yeah, because it's really awesome, positive, good feeling responses that came through. So I'll post it on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook. Any last questions, anybody?
Let's get some shout outs to our peeps. Lori Lit, Lolo, Nikki Ray, Queenie Lit, Owen. Thank you for being here.
Thank
Summer
you,
Lit
Doug.
Girl. Tammy, I see you, Tammy.
It's still risky, Vera, even if you pray. An invitation can negate a prayer. That's the whole point, basically.
RJ Litness, you have a good time?
The Spirit Network, we were streaming on Facebook. I don't know if we're doing it tonight.
Spirit Realm Network?
I don't know if they're still doing it.
I don't
Did you
know.
feel the floor just shake?
That was me.
Okay.
I've been shaking my leg.
What are you doing, man? You're crazy.
Crazy.
Sounds good, Trudy.
Joey
Walter,
Lewis.
thanks so much. Sounds good, Margaret. Thank you, Susan.
Hey, why don't our fams, Sean
Willow's Weep.
Squad, the Sean Squad and the Epic fam, say hi to each other? Look at this. Look at this crossover. Can you all see each other? A little bit. Hold on.
WEEP.
The Sean Squad and the Epic fam saying what's up to each
Thank
other.
you, Dawn.
Who would have thought?
Thank you all. Thank you again infinitely. And we'll see you guys a little bit. We're investigating. This is, for me, it's going to be like my main last night here.
And then mine's tomorrow night.
Probably going to try to lay low tomorrow, for the most part.
I'm gonna be going extra hard tomorrow. But then again, I got here after
Thank you,
Sean.
love.
So
Thank you,
Andrew.
Alana.
Andrew,
Love. Thank you, Julia. Thanks so much.
Julia,
Thank you, Susan.
Susan Lopez. What's up, Susan? Oh yeah, that's another thing, guys. Be sure to check out our Instagrams. We've been posting updates. I post every day, stories, posts.
Yeah.
So if you want to see what we're doing in between streams, check out the Epic Paranormal TV Instagram. And you've been posting stuff too.
Yeah, Sean D. Austin, SEAN, David, AUSTIN. And as you just heard with Eric with his Instagram as well. Yeah, we do a lot of updates there as well.
Fun little videos, little stories.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
I'm sure you guys enjoyed the bat video because that was hilarious.
It's so good.
It's nice to have a little lightheartedness in the midst of being in a portal to hell.
Yeah, that's another thing that someone was asking, like, what we do to stay sane, like humor. You know,
yeah, totally.
we always try and joke around, just when we're not investigating. You know,
Like scaring the crap out of Eric when he was upstairs in the attic, which was Deb's idea, and she's pissed off. I called her out.
Aunt Deb, I can't believe you do that to your boy. To your boy, it was messed up.
Yeah.
And the attic's messed up to begin with. All right, guys. Here, before you leave, smash the like on the video.
Yeah,
Let
appreciate
YouTube
it.
know that you had a good time.
Just came here, liked the video. Thanks so much, guys.
Smash that
and we'll
like.
be investigating within the next couple hours. I'll set up a thumbnail and all that stuff. And I'm going to post this video soon here with the crossing over the spirit.
I'll share it out too on my peeps when you do.
Sounds good. All right, guys. Thanks so much. Be safe, and talk to you in a little bit.
Later, guys. Owen, thank you for throwing it down right at the end. Owen, you are so sweet. Nikki Ray used to scare your husband. Oh, it's cruel. Owen, thank you so much for throwing it down. Stay tuned and stay epic, guys. We'll be live in a little bit. Love y'all.